morning here on Smart 24 TV. It is the Smart Try Show, your daily business feed every morning from Monday to Friday, 6 to 10 a.m. with myself, Ronald Tush Kamweya. And of course, along the way, I'm joined by my colleagues, Jacqueline Arinda, Biharimana Shakira, and of course, Frank Gashumba. Now, in our updates today, the Smart Updates, I want to start off with an interesting tweet that I found on my Twitter account, and this was done by my friend Ramadan Govi, a very interesting policy analyst here in Uganda, who is not afraid to touch the political rod if he deems it fit. Now, Mr. Govi says 2019 is going to be hot politically. Don't allow politicians to make us forget we are Ugandans first, and that we have a duty to love and build our country. That said, this doesn't mean we gloss over the bad things that happen around us. Bottom line, let us be truthful and unbiased, no fake news. Interesting. Now, of course, this is a tweet by Ramadan Govi, and you can follow him at rgovi with GOOBI to get more of his interesting insights. And of course, for our Smart Updates today, we are starting off with the Monitor, which is predominantly filled with university news. And my first headline is students with outstanding fees balance won't graduate. And this is by Makerere Vice Chancellor. And in detail, they're saying that Makerere University is set to graduate over 13,000 students during the forthcoming 69th graduation ceremony that is slated for January 15th. And of course, they're saying that on the Thursday, on the graduation day, a total of 13,299 students were set to graduate, and this will be in different disciplines, including degrees, PhDs, masters. It is degrees, diplomas, and PhD respectively. And of course, you could get more details by coming to this site of the Daily Monitor. Again, in the Daily Monitor, like I said, Makerere University is trending in the news today, and they are saying petition in Parliament is indiscipline. This is Professor Nawangwe. Of course, this is in reaction to a group of sacked staff who decided to petition the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, crying for their rights, so to say. Now, about 47 staff were sacked on December 22nd, and that was 2018. And they were sacked on different grounds, including indiscipline, assault, financial fraud, insubordination, among so many others. And these, of course, included some that you may know, like Dr. Stella Nyanzi. Yes, Dr. Stella Nyanzi. And so these concerned Makerere University staff decided to decided to write a 78-page petition that was dated January 2nd, 2019, and addressed it to Ms. Kadaga. And of course, this was under the umbrella of concerned members of Makerere University staff. So, in summary, the petitioners say that their dismissal is dubious and unprecedented in the university's history since its establishment in 1922. So, Professor Nawangwe is saying, look here, most of you were fired on account of indiscipline. Now, going ahead to break protocol by rushing to write a petition to Parliament before even following the university rules and regulations as regarding dismissals and terminations of contracts, that is a sign of indiscipline. This is the indiscipline that we are talking about. So you could come here and, of course, get more details from this. Now, a quick quote is saying the staff who petitioned Parliament should have first read the university guidelines that govern them. It was not right for the staff to run to Parliament because they were supposed to first petition their staff tribunal, which was established by the University Council, instead of running to the Speaker of Parliament, who is ever busy. Running to the Speaker instead of the University Tribunal is part of the indiscipline I am talking about. So this must end, Professor Nawangwe said. This is an interesting quote. So come to the website, rather Daily Monitor, and of course get some of these details. Now, briefly, in the Observer, an interesting story from the OPM's office. They are saying OPM forced Ugandans to register as refugees in Changwali, and now now a brief snippet of what this is. They are saying more than 1,000 Ugandans living in areas neighboring Changwali refugee settlement were forced to attain refugee status in order to retain ownership of their land. Now, the scheme was reportedly crafted by Charles Bafaki, the principal resettlement officer in the office of the Prime Minister, Jolly Kebirunji, the camp commandant of Changwali refugee settlement area, in the newly created Chikube district, and Lutaya Viane from the Ministry of Lands. We'll get to this Observer article and of course get more details. It must be noted that OPM has been engaged in a number of scams right from 2000. Refugee settlements in Uganda. We have more than 9 refugee settlements, and Uganda is among the hosting countries in the world, with many refugees coming in from South Sudan, though they are now going back. Of course, we do understand that with the stability, some of them are going back, but majority of these refugees coming from South Sudan, neighboring countries like Congo, we have some coming in from Burundi and Ethiopia, Somali, among many others. So this is something that could catch your attention, especially if you are in areas around Changwali, that is eastern Uganda, Chikube, among so many others. Now, moving forward, in the Daily Monitor still, there was an interesting headline that I missed earlier on, and they are saying flights delayed as Ethiopian Airlines plane overshoots Entebbe Airport. Today, we do understand towing services. Yes, a towing company successfully managed to move the Ethiopian Airways vessel off the runway, and of course normal business resumed as of that. So if they are saying flights have been delayed at Entebbe International Airport of several passengers trying. Now, that was flight and said that the flight was on a regular scheduled service from Addis to Entebbe, and this was when the incident happened. So very many people were stranded, passengers were stranded, and eventually the crew and the passengers were safely deplaned and taken to the terminal where they were cleared normally through the usual clearing process. So come here and get to understand now, like I said, this plane is no longer stuck on the runway. A towing service provider successfully, towing engineers rather at the airport successfully managed to get it away, of course with guidance from the Civil Aviation Authority. Now, in other news still on the Daily Monitor, I am the head of Parliament, Kadaga tells LOP. Interesting. In summary, the Speaker said that there would be nothing wrong with the current committee to be given up to the end of February to write their report. That, of course, in relation to SASE. Opposition's FDC appointed Mr. Munyagwa to replace Katuntu as COSASE chairperson, while Rubaga North MP Kasivante is the new vice chairperson in waiting to replace Bukedea woman MP Anita Among. So this comes after a widespread of tension about the proposed changes of the Committee on Commission Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, COSASE, leadership, with the leader of opposition, Betty Ochan, rejecting all proposals to extend the tenure to allow members led by Mubarak Munyagwa to take over. So, get some of these details. Of course, it must be understood that Abdul Katuntu's tenure is done, but in his service, he has been able to conduct a probe into Bank of Uganda, which saw various, the 7 banks that were closed illegally transparently come out, rather various officials of Bank of Uganda come out to defend or explain and account for the 7 closed banks that were done somewhat illegally. So a report is being prepared, and Kadaga is saying it can be extended to February before Munyagwa comes in to take over. And she clearly says, I am the head of the parliament. All right? So calm down as you're suggesting other things, as you're rejecting proposals to push this. Of course, that is on the political bit of it. Now, of course, in other stories, Uganda beats other East African states in exports to Kenya in 2018. That's some good news. And in summary, they are saying the export value, Uganda's exported goods worth 1.5 trillion to Kenya compared to Tanzania and Rwanda's 820 billion and 499 billion respectively. And of course, notably among the commodities that we export to Kenya, we have maize. Okay. Let me just read this for you. I find it more interesting. They are saying this was largely due to Kenya's reliance on her neighbors for food supplies such as maize. And data collected by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics indicate imports from the East African countries increased nearly by 1.5 times compared to the 834.7 billion in corresponding period that was in 2016. So come here and of course get some of these details, and you could be a trader or exporter to neighboring countries like Kenya, Tanzania or Rwanda. You may need to understand the dynamics involved in sending our commodities to those countries. Finally, in the Daily Monitor, okay. Weak shilling slows growth in 2018. Now, they are saying the shilling is volatile, and the shilling experienced a lot of volatility at the start of 2018. However, it stabilized in the period between April to May before sharply losing again in May to October. Now, the shilling rolled out into the new year with relative stability, having had a rough 2018. So, come here and of course read it. Now they are saying that at some point it threatened to hit a mark of 4,000, and that was it was at around 3,900 in the second half of 2018. We do hope, of course, that come 2019, the shilling, if the weather conditions favor better agriculture yields, the shilling could experience a strong fight against the US dollar come this particular year, especially in the first half of this period. So do get to this and of course get to understand what they mean by it having weakened, having slowed down economic growth in 2018. Yes. Now, in the New Vision, the headlines are very brief, and I'm going to mention them quickly before I call in for a break. They're saying Trump warns U.S. government shutdown could last a long time. Now, I'll get to more details on this when we come to the international news. And of course, the other headline in the New Vision is flights resume at Entebbe after over 10 years of delay. Now, this, according to CAA, the plane was removed from the runway at around 10:15 a.m. and flights operations resumed. This is the headline on the New Vision website. And finally, they are saying that 2019, the year of non-politics but economic growth. Okay, now remember, I'm presenting to you opinions from different areas, including updates from papers. I do understand that at the start of the show, I read a tweet by Ramadhan Gobi, a policy analyst and economist in Uganda, who was saying that 2019 could have a lot of politics. But contradictory to that, the new vision is saying this will be a year of non-politics, but economic growth. Of course, within it, they will give you details of the different economic indicators that are expected to show economic growth, and obviously they will raise some issues to do with the industrial parks that are driving economic growth in many parts of the country. They will talk about the different infrastructure projects, including the flyovers and so on and so forth. So come over to the website and you'll be enlightened with these news updates. Otherwise, you're still watching the Smart Rise Show. These are smart updates. You can be part of the conversation on all our social media networks. We are streaming live on Facebook at Smart24 TV. And of course, you can follow me on Facebook at Ronald Tush Kamweya. Twitter is at S24 TV, S24 TV. And of course, I am at Ronald Tush on Twitter. Let's go in for a short break. We'll be right back with more updates after that. Thank you so much, the different teams that are working hard to see that this show gets on. Now, we are still in our smart updates, and of course, earlier on we had the local news. Now we are in for our international news. Now remember, our resource sites for most of our international news include The Guardian, The New York Times, and many other predominant international sites. Away from that, let's start off with The Guardian. Now, in The Guardian, it is good news for the ladies, not only in the United States of America, but world over, as we see the first woman speaker elected to the House being voted to take a second term in office. And they are saying Nancy Pelosi, Democrats reclaim power as Nancy Pelosi is elected House Speaker. And of course, they are saying Pelosi won 220 votes as Democrats plan to test power by passing legislation to end the government shutdown. So this is, of course, politics in the United States. But of course, it must be noted that Pelosi has come out to make a number of landmarks in the United States ever since she was elected as the Speaker of Parliament. And of course, it is said that she overcame an internal democratic rebellion from members calling for a generational change at the top, among other hurdles, to win the gavel. But on Thursday, the opposition was nominal. And in total, she suffered 15 democratic defections, mostly from new members who pledged to oppose her during the campaigns and from old foes who have long called for new leadership. Of course, that is in The Guardian. Do get there and understand more of those details. Now, of course, further on in The Guardian, US warns citizens traveling to China to exercise caution. State Department travel advisory cautions arbitrary enforcement of local laws following detention of 2 Canadians in China. Now, it must be noted that the US is currently engaged in a trade war with the Chinese government, and of course, at some point it is expected that this could culminate into a Cold War of some sort. However, yesterday we did see what's his name? Okay, I'll get back to that. But away from that, we are saying that the U.S. State Department has renewed its warning for U.S. citizens traveling in China to exercise increased caution due to the arbitrary enforcement of the local laws amid heightened diplomatic tensions over the arrest in Canada of Chinese technology company executive. Now, that was around at the end of 2018 when the CFO of Huawei was arrested in Canada. And of course, China, in retaliation to that, likewise arrested 2 Canadian officials, diplomats in China. And of course, much as the Chinese government came in to say, look here, the reason as to why we have arrested these officials is typically not in revenge of the Huawei officials' arrest. It must be noted that the grounds on which they were arrested are still unclear. Investigations are still going on. However, the United States, in a desire to protect its citizens, is still telling them, before you do any traveling to China, be cautious, because we do not want to give them a reason to arrest more people. So get to this site, and of course you get to understand the dynamics out of which this caution comes in. Now, moving on to other stories in the Guardian. Is this The Guardian? No. Let's go to the New York Times. Now, in the New York Times, they are saying, what should you do about a falling stock market? Nothing. And of course, this is a headline by the Upshot. And of course, if you have had a perfect ability to predict how far the market would fall and when it would bottom out, it would make sense to move money in and out, but you do not. And millions of investors will receive year-end statements from their brokerages and retirement plan managers in the coming weeks, and the great majority of them will have unpleasant news, and those are losses. Now, speaking of stock markets, it must be noted that recently, okay, thank God I've even found the story itself that I wanted to tell you about. Now, recently, Apple did have its biggest fall in a very long time by over 10%. And of course, that was in China alone. And the reason they gave for this fall, and they do project the income for the year 2019 to be less by some good billions. And the reason they are giving for this is because Chinese consumers have reduced their purchase of Apple products. Now, it must be noted that China is the single most largest individual consumer country in terms of electronic gadgets, and that's because of its big population of over 1 billion people. And it also extensively does have a number of technological producers. So at some point, we must know that once you buy an iPhone, for example, you won't immediately replace it. The chances of it having it replaced in the near future are very slim. And so every person who would ideally buy an iPhone already has an iPhone in China, and the rest are able to zero into other technological alternatives like Huawei, Techno, among so many others, Samsung, among so many others. So as a result, we see so many shareholders in Apple rushing to sell off their stocks before they lose their markets to a greater level. Now, the headline in the New York Times is Chinese consumers' confidence sags, casting a pall over the global economy. And this is a report by Alexandra Stevenson, Li Yuan, and Raymond Zhong. Now, they are saying for years, no matter what has been happening elsewhere, global companies bet billions upon dollars that China's consumers would keep spending money. Of course, when the world's economy could use their financial firepower, they are no longer so quick to open their wallets. So consumers are purchasing at a low pace, especially of US products, and this is partly as a result of the US-China trade war that's currently going on. And of course, we do want to see, we do hope that at some point, rather we do suspect that at some point we will see the same practice coming in the US as Chinese products consumption reduces in the US market. This is of course part of the trade war that is going on. Okay, now away from that, let's have a very short break. We'll be right back after that. before we went into the break, I was telling you about the effect of the Chinese-US trade war on the different stock markets in the US and, of course, in China. Now, it must be noted significantly that Apple, one of the world's predominant tech giants and perhaps the superpower when it comes to technology, has had its rate fall by over 10% in the past few days. And of course, this has been a drastic fall in a number of years. It's the first in a very long time. So my explanation to you was, for as long as this trade war is still going on, the Chinese population is going to reduce its consumption of US products. And of course, likewise, the US is going to reduce its consumption of Chinese products. Now, let us understand one thing. Apart from the United States exporting to China and importing from China, they also have a number of other relations, both political, security engagements, and of course they also share different platforms, including being on the World Trade Organization and the G20. And along the way, 2018 was filled with a number of back and forth arguments between Xi Jinping and Donald Trump. Now, we did see the Chinese CFO being arrested over suspicion that Huawei was violating sanctions that were imposed in Iran in as far as its phasing of technology into the Iranian market was concerned. So today, as we speak, very many stock markets are affected by this particular trade war, and we do hope that it does reduce with time. But if it doesn't, it could cause a lot. Yes, it could cause a lot of turmoil. Away from that, let us now head on to other news on the international scene. And they are saying that the story about Nancy Pelosi's re-election is still grossing. And on the New York Times, the headline is Trump and Democrats dig in after talks to reopen government go nowhere. Now, President Trump and Democratic congressional leaders dug in Wednesday for a lengthy partial shutdown in a newly divided government after a White House meeting in the first 22 days. And this could break into an impasse over Trump's demands for billions of dollars for the border wall. And Trump, by the way, has said he's not signing any other document pending approval unless the House can approve the billions of dollars that are required for the wall that is expected to be blocking illegal immigrants, especially Mexicans, from getting into the United States. So upon Pelosi's re-election, we do hope that some of these things will be settled out within her first few days in the re-election seat. Now, they do get to the site. There is even a video. Actually, it's not only wording. There is a video of Nancy Pelosi, Donald Trump in a heated argument over some of these issues. Now, again, in the New York Times, still about Nancy Pelosi, they are saying Nancy Pelosi elected Speaker of Democrats, rather as Democrats take control of the House. And ebullient Democrats assumed control of the House on Thursday and elected Representative Nancy Pelosi of California. And this was a return in which is the first in a very long time, and of course it's a historic distinction as the first woman to hold the post. So this is now obviously a political swing into the United States politics. Away from that, this has been your Smart News updates on Smart 24 TV, of course, here on the Smart Rise Show. You can be part of our conversation on our social media networks. We are on Facebook at S24 TV, and right now as we speak, we are actually streaming live. If you can go to our page, Smart 24 TV, do give a comment, share your views, share your opinions, and of course, constructive criticisms are also welcome. Now, you could also join us on Twitter at S24 TV. I'm Ronald Tush, and we will be sharing some of your views. Away from that, we will be having Franga Shumba in a short while. After that, we will come in with our business insights. And now, of course, with the business insights today, I'm not going to spill the beans. But after the business insights in the forum, we will come back with the second part of our series in real estate. Mr. Bernard Alulire, yes, is back in the house, and he is going to share with us how we can practically get into the real estate business. Otherwise, let me call for a very short break, and we'll be right back with Frank Gashumba.
bonna abali e Kampala, abali e Jinja, abali e Busoga, abali e Masaka, abali e Mbarala, abali e Gulu, abali Arua, those in Dubai, we are streaming live. You can watch our show via Facebook, via Instagram, via Twitter, via all social media platforms. Mbalamusiza bwe kibe kiro tekyagenze bulungi enkya kijja kutereera. Nze mbeera ne hope nti if Thursday was not the best, we can have a Saturday. Era nsiba nkibagamba nnyo nti Monday bwe bayagaana trying a Tuesday, Tuesday bwe bayagaana trying a Wednesday, Wednesday bwe bayagaana trying a Thursday, Thursday bwe bayagaana trying a Friday, Friday bwe bayagaana trying a Monday. Message ekirimu eri very simple. Don't ever give up. We only give up nga tutadde mu ntaana. Actually omuntu ne bw'aba afa alwana ng'alaga nti alina okubeerawo. You are getting me? So never give up. Oba 2018 tiyavaayo nga bwe wali ogisuubira, you have an opportunity to be a better person in 2019. If 2019 does not work out, there is 2020, there is 2021. Ate kya people abantu baachivinga mu myaka egy'enjawulo. I'll give you an example. Barack Obama yafuuka president wa US in 2008 and I think he was at the age of 46. Donald Trump yafuuse president wa America nga ali 72. So abantu baachivinga ku different levels oba n'emyaka egy'enjawulo. Eno KFC mwenna abaana abato gye mwagala okugenda muli enkoko, omusajja oyo Colonel Sanders yakola over 180 businesses nga zikola pusinga. Eya KFC yagitandika ali 64 n'afanga mugagga mumpulira. So tikitegeeza n'osanga omwana ali 25 years agamba mu ensi egaanye nze giving up ndi mukoowu. Oh my God, 25 years oli mukoowu okowaki? Ne bw'obeera oli 80, don't give up. Nali mbaddeko mu gym eyo olumu e Germany, I was shocked. Nasanga akakyala nga kali 82 years naye nga kakola over 70 zitabata zino nze erabidde bino bibateeka ekifuba wansi. Akakyala natunuulira akakyala kali nange nembeera inspired okucontinuinga. So don't give up. Ne bw'obeera ng'oli 80, ne bw'obeera ng'oli 90, don't give up on your dreams. That's it. Bw'oba ondaba essaawa zino our show ku TV Smart 24 mainly ku makya twagala kuba inspiringa, kuba motivatinga, to make you feel you can be a better person. Starting on Monday, we are having a different segment. Starting on Monday, mubadde mukyalimu kana aka New Year, Christmas, bucha. Nekati biwedde. Starting on Monday, we are having a different show. We'll be having different guests from different backgrounds, but they are different views on the way they see this country of ours, Uganda. Obabo bafuuse batya. Ku Monday tugenda baleetera omugenyi, waliwo professor avudde Canada yawandiika akatabo ka trendings ennyo nti bye tusomesa abaana biri applicable. Ngenda kubeera naye bamuyita Dr. Lawrence Muganga. He's going to be live in the studios here, downtown Kampala. Kaakati leero tugenda kwogera ku kintu kye bayita it's possible. Nti kisoboka. Teri kitasoboka wansi w'enjuba. Teri kitasoboka wansi w'enjuba. 1. Abantu bemusinga okwegomba, abantu bemusinga okuyisa okwegomba ne bakuyitako n'ogamba maama singa nze baazaalibwanga ggwe. 82% on the world billionaires tebaazaalibwa mu maka magagga, baazaalibwa mu maka aga bulijjo. Can you imagine? 82% of the world billionaires baazaalibwanga ggwe, baazaalibwa mu maka aga bulijjo. Ne balina ekintu kimu kyokka ku nsi kuno abantu bonna, either politicians, businessmen, athletes n'abalala, balina ekintu kiri kimu nti balemerako ne bagamba nti kisoboka. Tokkirizanga gye wazaalibwa okusalawo ky'olina okuba. Never allow your history to determine your destiny. Tokikkirizanga. Osanga omuntu nga yeekubagiza ng'agamba nti ffe nakulira mu maka maavu, era ky'ova olaba nze zino ennyimba z'abayimbi abamu mu Uganda siziwulira ezo, nakulira mu maka maavu. So what? Buli luyimba lwayimba kwekubagiza twalina kino twalina kino kyo wavaayo dda agenda ku level endala. So olw'okuba wazaalibwa mu maka maavu nga temulinayo na kagaali, temulinayo na kyalani, ekyo tekitegeeza nti ojja kufa ng'oli mwavu. No. Never allow your history to determine your destiny. We can always write our destiny no matter where we come from. Kamba example nze gumulabe sawa zino. Bajjajjaffe bava mu nsi mu kaseera kamu akatono ke bayita Rwanda. Abamu bwe mukiwulira munyiiga naye toyina kyojja kunkola sikeerangawo okusalawo okuvaayo nange neesanga nvudde ebuvi. Actually bajjajjange singa bagenda olunsi Angola, olunsi nali badde nga nze president wa Angola ne bajja mu Uganda. Bava Rwanda 1923 batambuza bigere from Rwanda to Uganda. Jjajjaffe oyo Sarafina mwogerako nnyo baali bakulosinga Kagera National Park ne basanga empologoma enkazi n'ensajja nga ziyonsa ebyana byazo. Jjajjaffe omusajja n'agamba jjajjaffe omukazi Sarafina nti today empologoma zijja tulya. Jjajjaffe Sarafina amugamba no, ne bwe tunaddayo empologoma zina the capacity tukwata ne zitulya to continuing. Ne baziyita kawo. Imagine empologoma enkazi ngeri mu kuyonsa byana byayo ne batambula. Basooka kusettlinga mu mbalala omwo ebintu tebyali birungi. Abanyarwanda basinga abakulu bw'oyogera nabo, things were not easy for them in Western Uganda. Ne bamaliriza ne batambula ne bajja mu Buganda. Batambuza bigere okuva Ruhengeri ye border ya Rwanda ne Congo. Ne batambula ne bajja Kigali, from Kigali to Akagera National Park paka Uganda. Batambuza bigere. Bajjajjaffe batambuza bigere, ne ffe ate tutambuza bigere. We must drive. Ate abaana baffe, all our grandchildren are not expected to drive. They expected to own airplanes or aircrafts. Mumpulira ndowooza. Abaana baffe be-expectingibwa oku-owninga ennyonyi oba abazzukulu baabwe oku-owninga ennyonyi. Egye bayita transition. Sisobola kusalawo bajjajjange gye baava, nze nsobola okusalawo gye nnyina okubeera. Nze nasomera mu ssomero bayita St. Francis Villa Maria Primary School. A public primary school. I remember nga tutambula every day from home to school. On A-level nayisomera mu ssomero bayita Aga Khan Secondary School e Masaka. Ffe twakuliranga amasomero ga King's College Buddo, ga St. Mary's Kisubi, nga basisters baffe amasomero ga Namagunga, ga Gayaza, tugawulira nga bwe muwulira Harvard. Amasomero ago ge twakula tuwulira buwulizi, kati abaana baffe gye basomera. Kiki ekitegeeza nti osobola obutasalawo gye wazaalibwa naye osobola okusalawo wajolaga. Era gwandaba essaawa zino, toddawo ne weekubagiza simanya nazaalibwa mu maka maavu, nange nyina kubeera mwavu, nyina kulinnya taxi, hopeless. Kyawandiikibwawo nti olw'okuba jjajjawo yatambuza bigere, naawe olina kutambuza bigere. Nze nze Katonda nnyambye ntambudde ensi yonna eno, nakatambula mu nsi 49. Okiwulira? So kyenjogera nkyogeza n'authority that it's possible. So bajjajjaffe batambuza bigere, we don't walk, we drive. Abaana abaffe oba abazzukulu baffe, they are not expected to drive, they are expected to own planes, and it's possible. Bajjajja abaffe baakula, bajjajja abaffe baali baavu nga n'abaavu babageya. Bajjajja abaffe baali baavu nga n'abaavu babageya. Baasulanga mu nnyumba za busiisira. Baali baavu nga n'emmese zaava dda mu nnyumba zaabwe, kubanga n'emmese nga tezinaamu kyakulya, nga zeebuuza ne bano bantu sitole ki bano tumaze wiiki namba temuli kyakulya, nga n'emmese zaanobamu ne zigenda. Bajjajja abaffe ebitanda bye baasulangako baasimanga binnya mu kasiisira ne basimbamu emiti ne bateekako emiti ne bayiwako essubi ne beebaka. Awe bajjajjaffe. Bajjajjaffe Abanyarwanda abasinga bajjajjaffe baali ba blood donors. Teri kiwuka kitaaluma ku bajjajjaffe. Mumpulira? Naye nze teri kiwuka kiyinza kunsemberera, ekyo ne bw'oba oyagala nnyo. Mumpulira? Bajjajjaffe nkugambye baali baavu beyond repair. Baali baavu nga n'emmese ne zituuka ne ziva ne mu busiisira bwazo ne zigenda awalala. Naye kati ffe tumeekinze sure nti ebyo byakoma ku ki? Ku bo. Bajjajjaffe abaali abaavu abaali basula mu nnyumba z'obusiisira, kati Katonda atuyimusizza, ayina w'atutuusizza. Ekyo tukimwebaliza. Tukimwebaliza. Naye nze ngamba tulina okugatta ebintu bibiri, tulina okugatta essaala n'okkola. Okiwulira? Tulina okugatta essaala n'okkola. So when kugamba it's possible, there is a living testimony. Kati kamba twale. Okumanya baali baavu. Babanga n'engoye bbiri, ng'olugoye lwalimiramu lwasulamu. Mami waffe oyo akitugamba nnyo nti jjajja wa mwoyo engoye ze yalimirangamu nga zaababikka ekiro. Ne kati mami wange alina gomesi z'atamanyi bungi. mutabani we Gashumba ayina engoye ezatamanyi bungi kitegeeza nti kisoboka. So toddangawo n'ogamba nti nno tekisoboka. Kati kambaze Rwanda. President we Rwanda aliko kati President Paul Kagame, President we Rwanda yakulira mu refugee camp in Nakivale wano. He was raised in a refugee camp. Bwe yava mu refugee camp n'agenda okusoma, yasomako odi Kampala n'asomako Entale. Bwe mba nkozemu ensobi naye what I know he went to Entale school in Mbarara. N'ajoininga President Museveni mu bibalimu bino eby'omunsiko. Buli binyana abisulamu ze bayita endaaki. Omusajja yakulira mu refugee camp ng'asimbira obuugi. Era President Kagame nti atera nnyo okukyogera, yabuuzanga nnyo maama weffe twabaki okubeera mu bulamu buno. Eyakulira mu refugee camp kati ye President w'eggwanga. That's a living testimony. Kagame buli lwabajja e Uganda amakubo bagasiba kubanga he's the head of state. 2 months back namulabye ku TV ngali Brazil. No, wait. I think yabadde Argentina. Mu G24 summit. Neba President Trump n'abalala. Natunulidde omusajja yakulira mu refugee camp kati nga rubbing shoulders neba Trump na bano ba kings aba Saudi Arabia ne bano ba prime minister b'Ubungereza ne ngamba it's possible. Okiwulira omusajja yakulira mu refugee camp kakati president w'eggwanga naawe osobola. It's possible. Ebintu byonna wava muno byakivinze, Mulwana byakivinze, Warren Buffett byakivinze, naawe osobola byakivinga. Story ya President Kagame gibawadde. Kati kangende ku muntu omulala. My favorite entrepreneur mukama amuumuze mirembe. James Mulwana naye yakulira mu family enjavu empitirivu. James Mulwana mu bitabo byo bwogwa ku literature wagamba yakolako ku White Nile wane Katwe nga bouncer. Mumanyi bouncer kye kitegeeza. Ne bambi we yafiira nga yemu ku bantu betu respecting abagagga mu ggwanga. James Mulwana. Imagine ng'omuntu yali bouncer ku White Nile Katwe nga ya bouncing abantu obutayingira. Yakukiza okuyingira. N'amaliza ng'ate ku mikolo buli wayingira ku mikolo bayimirira okumuwerokaminga. Kisobokera ddala nnyo. Mwabawala mwagala nnyo Oprah. Naye temufaayo kumanya who Oprah is. Oprah yarepingibwako kojjaawe. Netaddawo ne yeekubagiza bannange bankwata. Bakwata bakulekako sitampu mu feesi. Bakukwata ekyo kyaggwa akola ekirala. Oprah at the age of 16 bamugoba ku TV nga bagamba she was not a TV personality. Mu face yesi ya TV. Nadda wakana akaaba n'atandika okukola show ye. Kati ye mukyala omu ku bagagga mu nsi yonna. She owns a private jet. Tunulia background Oprah yakulira mu family enjavu nnyo nga gyenkomeza n'okusoma kwe tekuli waggulu. Naye ayina ekintu kimu yalemerako n'ateekubagiza. Tugenda mu kalango ne bwe nkomawo from the break ngenda kubongerako abantu abalala bali bwe batyo nti it's possible. Never allow your history to determine your destiny. We have the power and the authority to write our destiny. There are many testimonies that have proved it right. Nti gye baazaalibwa si we balina okusalawo gye balina okubeerawo. Bwe tunaakomawo ngenda balaga Ssaabagabe ye ate gye yava ate yali mwavu nnyo nga gye nkomeza. nga tukomyewo ku Smart 24 broadcasting live from downtown Kampala. Twakedde dda mu kibuga ennyonyi ekeera yeri ensiriŋŋanyi okuggyako nti oli asikaali ng'okola kiro oba emirimu gy'okola giri online ng'oso gikolera awaka. Riziki zonna ziri mu kibuga. Actually ekitabo ekitukuvu Quran kitugamba nti musule ne bwe musulanga mu byalo ne mukeere mu bibuga. Riziki yonna gye ziri, emikisa gye ziri, baraka gye giri. Teri mukyala ajja kuleetera ddiiru ya miliyoni 10 oba kawumbi nowe. Bajja kuleetera buddiiru bwa siringi 7, siringi 50, siringi 200. So mbabuulidde ne bw'oba osula mpigi kobeere ng'osula deep in the village. Keera mu kibuga, riziki gye ziri. Tulina kufiira mu kibuga nga kalooli. Kalooli zeetawulira Kyengera, Nateete, Meat Packers bweyogerere ne zidde Meat Packers ne zirya ennyama. Naffe tulina kubeera wano. Mukeerenga mu kibuga. Ekira mukeerenga muggulewo ennyumba. Ku makya emikisa giyingire mu nnyumba, muva waka nga mulina emikisa. Emikisa giva waka, emikisa tegiva mu makanisa, tebabalimba. Ekyo kankibabuulire. So it's very very important nti keera mu kibuga. Don't give up. Nakomye nga mbabuulidde Oprah. Kati kandeeta omwami omulala, Barack Obama, my favorite. Story ya Barack Obama, I believe abasinga mukimanyi. Barack Obama omusajja yamuzaala bamuyitanga Hussein Obama, taata we. Taata we yamuzaala, no, I think I'm forgetting. Taata we Obama yani erinnya. Munsonyiwe ndyerabiddemu. Taata we Obama ava Kenya ogenda mu America okusoma. Bw'agenda mu America okusoma, adeetinga omuwala omuzungu, maama wa Barack Obama, bazadde Barack Obama. Nga bw'omanyi abasajja ba Africa, n'avaayo mu America, n'addayo Kenya, omwana oyo Barack Obama yakuzibwa maama we. Era mu katabo ka Obama, The Audacity of Hope, akulaga courage n'amaanyi maama we ge yamuteekamu okufuuka kyali. Ne Barack Obama yakulira mu makanga maavu mazibu. Era bwe bagendako Indonesia eyo nga maama we talina ssente zisasula international schools, nga maama we azuukuka kiro n'amukokinga nga ku ssaawa 10 ogw'ekiro. Imagine ng'omwana omuto ali biro 10 years oba biro 15 years ng'ozuuka ku ssaawa 10 n'omukokinga. Mbwera akaana kagulambulinganga, maama wako n'akagamba, you bastard, you think we are here on a picnic? Concentrating ku your future. Barack Obama n'afuuka the first black US president. Ekyali kitasuubirwa. Oba Barack Obama a product ya muna Kenya n'omukazi wa America asobola okufuuka the world is number 1. Nawe osobola. Can you imagine? Barack Obama n'afuuka the world is number 1. Barack Obama waberedde mu White House, I think nga n'empewo gyassa bagipurifyinga. So it's very very possible. Don't tell me it's not possible. If Barack Obama amama bazi agamba atya did it, if Barack Obama did it, now you can also did it. Mukajjukira akantu akakatwendinga ennyo last year. A black man with a funny name, with a funny skin, n'afuuka the first US president. Zijjukira 2008 nazuukuka yange okusabiranga Barack Obama oyo, kubanga na followinganga live debates zaabwe on TV. Ne kati ku mulimu nga ngamba abantu nti omusajja agenda fuuka US president nga bagamba wa Gashumba ate njaga gy'onywedde ku luno oyiseewo, a black man cannot become a US president. N'abafuga. It's possible. South Africa here, Nelson Mandela yalwanira eddembe ly'abaddugavu. Eddembe ly'abaddugavu ne bamusiba ne bakola ki? Mwe bwe mbalaba wano nga mugamba nti Bobi Wine bamukijjanya, nseka n'okuseka. Bakijjanya Nelson Mandela ekyamufuula the world is hero. Si mu kuba mpi bbiri n'afuuka hero. No, it was gradual. Nelson Mandela ne bamusiba n'amala emyaka 27 mu kkomera. 27 years in prison. N'afuuka the first South African black president. Ekyo si kyangu. Si kyangu. Ebintu byonna Nelson Mandela. And be confusing. I think I've confused Nelson Mandela neighbor. I think I've confused it. Kanziremu. Nelson Mandela. Omanyi abantu abo mbagala nnyo, njala nnyo Barack Obama, njala nnyo Nelson Mandela. Actually, ku office gye tukolera ne maka agange nyinayo abantu aba inspiring, nyinayo Barack Obama, Nelson Mandela, Idi Amin Dada, Gandhi, Rije Moyo, ne Kagame gyali n'abalala. Ne kambazi ku Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela yalwanirira eddembe ly'abaddugavu e South Africa. Nelson Mandela bamukola buli kikolobero kye mutamanyi. Temulaba nti babonyabonyeza Besigye mu Uganda, babonyabonya Nelson Mandela. Era mwe baganda bange aba people power, bwe muba mwagala buyinza mbasese, embaga tennaba kutandika. Nelson Mandela yabonyabonyezebwa, yasibwa emirundi ekitamanyiddwa mingi, yakubwa emiggo, yakolwa buli kintu. N'amaliriza nga bamusibye n'amala emyaka 27 mukomera. N'amaliriza nga afuuse the first South African black president. Teyakkiriza history we kujajinga destiny ye. So kisobokera ddala ekintu kyonna Nelson Mandela kyakivinga nawe so kyakivinga. 1989 ekyo kinali sisuubira. Berlin Wall eyo gye bamenye eyali separating West Germany ne East Germany. Abateekawo embeera okuteekawo Berlin Wall baali balala. N'abateekawo embeera ey'okugijjawo baali balala. Kiki enkulaga mu kino? It's possible. Mwe abalokole, mikwano gyange abalokole, omukyala gwe bayita Joyce Meyer, mwena ndoza mumanyi abasinga. Oyo mukyala naye yakulira mu famire ng'eri bubi. N'atulugunyizibwa famire ye, kojjawe naye n'amurepinga physically and mentally. Naye tiyaddawo okwekubagiza. Kati ye mukyala omu kubasinga okubuulira enjiri all over the world. Era ye bw'aba atambula, she owns a private jet. Naye teyadda mu kwekubagiza, teyadda mu kwekomomma, teyadda mu kwezza mabega. Mumpulira. So mbagamba, we cannot change our history, but we have the power and the authority to determine our destiny. Don't ever allow any negative voice. Mpozi kino kankikiipingemu katono. Study yakolebwa mu MIT ne bakizuula nti bw'obeera singa omuntu omu akugambye nti tolizimba nnyumba Kampala, toligula mmotoka, nti weetaaga amaloboozi 27 to detoxify that negative voice. So kino kituzizzayo ku kyensinga okwogera nnyo. Mwewale nnyo oku-associatinga yourselves n'abantu abali negative. Abantu abali ki? Abali negative. Kati mbatutte ku Michelle Obama, former first lady mukyala wa Barack Obama, naye yakulira mu famire nga njavu nnyo. Taata we nga petrol attendant ng'akola ku petrol station kuweereza mafuta n'ebintu ebirala. Mwabakimanyi nti abaana abawala all over the world tebalina kusharinga binaabiro toilets n'abaana abalenzi. Ne Michelle Obama akugamba nti mu nnyumba gye baakuliramu mwalimu ekinaabiro kimu nga abazadde abasajja mwe banaabira, abaana abalenzi mwe banaabira, n'abaana abawala mwe banaabira, naye nga mwanaabira. Naye tiyakkiriza history we ku determining her destiny. N'agenda mu university bagita Princeton University gye yagenda, n'amaliza ng'asomya amateeka, n'amaliza nga ye first lady wa America. Kati ongamba otya nti tekisoboka? Gwe omwana omuwala andaba essaawa zino noddawo ne weekubagiza, munange ensi yagaana, nze bandoga, zimanya mujja wange, simanya ndiko lubaale, bakulimba. It has to be you. Gwe wennyini nga gwe gw'olina okusalawo n'ogamba this is the life I must live. This is the future I must write. And it's possible when you want it to be possible. Mumpulidde. Kambaleeta omulala. Yoweri Museveni. Saabagabe. Freed Marshall. Oyo yekka Museveni yekka mu Uganda gwe nkakasanga a certified military general. Yekka. Why? Takolangako training yonna y'amagye. Tagendangako mu military college yonna. Museveni has never attended any military college. Obezo zi Sandhurst ez'omutawaana ennyo. Naye omusajja tagendangako mu military college yonna. Yatutabudde bwa, yatufuukidde akayinja mu ngatto. Yasomera Kyamate Primary School. Muli ekigambo Kyamate Primary School. N'avaayo n'agenda Entale, n'agenda e Dar es Salaam. Museveni tagraduatinganga kwagamba nti yali agraduating atulage ebifaananyi nga agraduatinga. Obulidde. Yagamba olumumbu olumu ekyamugaana okugenda mu mazina, okuddayo mu mazina, lwe yasooka okugenda mu mazina baamulinnya ebigere nga talina ngatto. Mbwe ebiseera ebyo nga baakayijuka bokka be balina engatto. Omusajja eyakulira mu bwavu obuyitiridde n'amaliriza nga ye president wa Uganda. Sikkiriziganya naye the way he's running this country, but I respect him. Murespectinga ng'omusajja omukulu kubanga ffe gye twakule batuga tulina okurespectinga abantu abasajja abakulu. Ate kira murespectinga nga omuntu from nowhere neyefuula kyali. Museveni discovered himself. Kati abatategeera abalowooza obubi ennyo bagamba kati Gashumba yakyuse. Bwe buzibu muyina. Like him, hate him, disagree with him, he's a smart guy. Tosobola kulimba abantu n'obamaza mu nsiko emyaka 4 ne balwana nga tobasasudde. Ne bakwata obuyinza. N'ofugira emyaka 32 n'ogaa nti omusajja si mugezi. No matter how he is ruling this country. Mumpulira. So, tunuulira background ye. Saabagabe. Saabalwanyi. Bano bajenero bonna be mulaba bonna sijja boogera mannya bonna be mulaba mu Uganda. Bali babaddeko mwezi colleges e Nigeria, US, UK, naye talinyangayo. Ochuli n'amaliza nga president wa Uganda. Bw'aba Museveni asobola okufuuka president wa Uganda, naawe osobola okufuuka president wa Uganda. Tugda mu kalango bwe tukomawo ngenda baleetera omuntu omuki omulala ajjo bashookinga ngenda baleetera omuntu kaffe akafembayo nga bwe nabagambye ffe share ku Smart 24 kye tugenda okukola tugenda kubeera as positive as possible. Tugenda kubazaamu amaanyi tutajetinga the silent majority ebadde yava ku TV nga yatamwa TV ez'okuwemula ez'okumalamu abantu essuubi ez'olugambo. Singa mwegendeeza media houses in Uganda kati ebintu ebisinga okutrendinga ŋŋambo naye olugambo olwo lufunamu kigwa ndaba essaawa zino. Omutwe gwe gujjudde lugambo different sources. Kiki ofunamu as you gwe nga ggwe? Ompulira. Kiki ofunamu nga ggwe? Kiki ofunamu? Waking up every day nga oyina ky'olina okubeera. Ekyo ojja kukyachievinga as long as you associate your brains with the positive minds, with the stories that inspire you. Don't simply wake up and watch a TV. Don't simply wake up and listen to a radio station. Have a purpose in you. Nga bw'okera omwana agenda mu primary okusoma from P1 to P7 ayite P7. Bw'amala okuyita P7 akole O level ayite senior 4. Bw'amala okuyita senior 4 asome A level agende mu uni. Don't simply watch a TV. Don't simply listen to a radio station. Don't simply read a newspaper. What value kiki ofunamu? Are there stories that inspire you? Abantu bolaba bw'omala ebiseera ng'olaba TV ezitakuinspiringa ogenda kumaliriza nga teri muntu gwe yali akulabe ku TV. Naawe teekawo embeera ng'olunaku lujja ku ky'abantu babeere nga balaba ggwe. Christmas eno eyawedde tewali wa Luganda lwo yavudde bweru. Ompulira teri mwenna muli wano mubeera muno muli loko. Omuntu bw'afa ku ssaawa 4 ku 6 ekika kiba kiweddeyo. Awo nagwo nja kireeta omulundi omulala mbalage okubeera loko bwe kibeeredde ekibi. Get international networks. Kati kandeeta omuntu omulala Pope Francis. Mwagala nnyo Pope Francis. Pope Francis bw'omutunuulira alabika ali innocent. Pope Francis oyo naye yakulira mu family enjavu enzibu. Era kugamba bwe yali asoma seminary ng'anoonya obusente obwa pocket money from different sources asome seminary agimalirize. Pope Francis bwe yatuuka mu A-level yeeri nga mu holiday ezimu naye yalinga bawunsa ku night clubs. Pope Francis afuna akasente akamuyamba. Pope Francis kyajjukirwako Argentina ennyo nti ebbanga lye yamala nga Pope ebiseera ebisinga yabimala nnyo mu bifo by'abanaku nga bw'olaba kamwokya Katanga kati kizeeyo ku mmwe abayita bannaddiini mu Uganda. Mirundi emeka gye mugenda mu bifo by'abantu abali obubi mukyuse embeera zaabwe. Era Pope Francis oyo yakola statement, if we leaders cannot get out of our comfort homes and offices to go out and solve problems of the poor, ebizibu by'abanaku bijja tusanga mu maka gaffe. Pope Francis yagamba nti abakulembeze ffenna ku levo zonna ez'enjawulo bwe tutaava mu maka gaffe mawofiisi gaffe amalungi agalimu esi ne tugenda mu banaku mu ghetto gye bali tusolovinga ebizibu byabwe, bwe tutagende kusolovinga bizibu by'abanaku abanaku bajja tusanga mu mawofiisi gaffe ne maka gaffe ate situjja kubeera safe. Pope Francis bwe yagenda e Roma abakatoliki paapa bw'afa wayitawo ennaku ne balonda paapa. Yagenda with a two-way air ticket. Tiyagenda ng'asuubirwa nti alina n'okulondebwa okubeera pope. Ompulidde? Era nga yasasudde n'ennaku 3 eza woteri mwagenda okusula. Bwe baamala omulondanga paapa ebyo byakoma tiyaddayo Argentina yasigala nga pope. Look at his background, very humble background. N'amaliza nga yo pope w'ensi yonna. Oyo alina ebitiibwa bibiri ye president, he's the head of state. Era yakulira the Catholic Church. Abakatoliki all over the world, I think they are over 1.5 billion Catholics all over the world. So when you get ku pope, we are not talking about these fake masters, semanya prophet, semanya pastor. No, we are talking about the world's #1 head of state. Atengera yakulira Catholic Church. Yakulira abakatoliki bonna mu nsi yonna. Nange yantwala. Ate kigamba kya papa kibeera teeka. Look at his background. Bwaba yakimaking anaafuuka kyali. How about you? Naawe osobola. On Monday ngenda kuba n'omugenyi wano ajja ate nono ajja ba inspiringa kubanga obulamu bwe bwanjawulo nnyo yava wano n'agendako e Rwanda n'addayo n'agenda e Canada n'asoma kati yawandiise akatabo akasinza okutrendinga. So please from 7 to 8 a.m. every Monday nja kubeera nammwe as long as nkyali mulamu. As long as nkyali mulamu njala nnyo nzijukirweko nti naba inspiringa. Njala nnyo nzijukirweko nti ne bwe mba nfudde enkya nti amaanyi bwe gaali gabaweddemu, there was this voice from Frank Gashumba that was telling you don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. Njagala nzijukirweko nnyo nti amaanyi bwe gaali gakuweddemu waliwo omuntu yakugambanga nti kikyasoboka, you have another opportunity to be a better person. Njagala era bwe ndiba siriiwo mujjukire nga mugaa nti omusajja oyo bwe yazuukukanga najja ku TV oba ku radio, abanyuunyunsi abanyigiriza abantu bagamba damn, he's back again. Thank you. I sign out. See you on Monday from 7 to 8 a.m. I sign out.
My name is Jacqueline Arena, and you're watching the Smart Rise show on Smart 24 TV. With me, I have Ronald Tush Kamwea.
Well, thank you so much, Jacqueline. And of course, in our Business Insights today, we are back to Makerere University, where we had on December 22nd, where we saw 47 staff being sacked by the University Appointments Committee, of course, in the leadership of the VC, Professor Nawangwe. Now, we do see them today going back to court and rather going to petition in the Parliament, the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga. But Professor Nawangwe yesterday held a press conference at which he clearly indicated that this was part of the indiscipline cases that got these people fired in the first place. So
yes,
that's part of the things that we want to talk about in our Smart Insights today.
Yes, well, that's for sure that some people have been laid off, but when they petitioned to the Parliament, actually, he also emphasized and said that this is the kind of indiscipline he was talking about. They should have first gone to the Human Resource Office before they had to go to the Speaker, who is ever busy. He even emphasized and said the Speaker is always busy. That's the kind of indiscipline if you don't follow the right procedures.
Yes, indeed. Now, it must be noted that despite the fact that university procedures and protocols need to be followed, what are the chances that these people could be brought back after a long deliberation that they are fired? That's one. Two, we must understand that these are normal humans like you and I. They are our relatives, perhaps brothers, sisters, fathers, or mothers. And they being sacked from an institution that was taking care of their salary means there is going to be some sort of economic gap in their personal lives when we look at it at a microeconomic level. Their salaries, I understand, some of them were asked to refund the salaries that they have been receiving, especially those that have absconded from duty. Now,
yes. And I was actually looking at one who was sent home. I've just forgotten the name. That one of the reasons is they had to lay him off was because he had gone on a leave, study leave, and then was given some allowance and some money, and he never finished his studies. Actually, they even think that he might not have gone for his studies. So they wanted him to refund. You can imagine, they actually listed almost all the reasons. Few of the people, they gave the reasons to why some people were laid off, and I looked at the reasons. But as much as you were saying that we should look at how they are going to work on this, how it's going to affect them. But I usually tell you that you cannot misbehave, and you think people are going to be lenient with you. And then let's look at how about the discipline part of it. Because if you're indisciplined, no one will feel pity for you. That's what I think.
Well, fortunately, I share the same view. But again, at some point, we need to understand. First of all, they have listed some issues that caused the layoff of this staff, and among them they are mentioning indiscipline, absconding from duty, assault, financial fraud, insubordination, among many others. Now, it is not like the committee hearing on statutory authorities and state enterprises where we have people coming before the public and you clearly understand that, you know what, this amount of money was lost on fraudulent practices. These issues were brought up on indiscipline. I mean, that was a closed door meeting by the Makerere Appointments Committee, and I think other stakeholders like the disciplinary committee, the board, and so on and so forth. But it was not in the open. So the staff that were fired decided to come up with a group. Their group is called the Concerned, I'm trying to get the name well here. Anyway, it's something to do with Concerned, Makerere University Concerned Staff, something like that. I'll get it clear with time. So they petitioned the speaker saying that their layoff was not legal, that some of them were actually innocent. So much as we are quick to pinpoint them on cases of indiscipline and related issues, my thinking is we need to actually understand who is on the wrong in this case.
Exactly, that is what I was going to tell you, because when we look at, he actually said that if you don't read the regulations, that means that you will never know whether you were wrong or right. He actually emphasized and says, for most of these, the penalty was dismissal or termination of their services. There will be steps to recover the money the university spent on their studies or salaries. Meaning, there was a case for embezzlement of some funds or misuse of funds. So as much as they are coming on board to tell us that, no, look here, this is not the right way how we would have been laid off, we also need to maybe go back and look at the regulations. Because as far as I know, they had meetings, several meetings from November to December by the time they made such a decision. As we all know, Dr. Nyanzi, who is currently on remand in Luzira, had been on suspension for over 2 years. Well, most people thought this was about Dr. Stella Nyanzi, but sincerely speaking, they gave almost each of them was given a reason why they were dismissed. Now, what we need to know is if any of them disagrees and can provide proof that, look here, you said I got a leave for study and I didn't use funds and blah, 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 maybe I misused the funds. Provide evidence before you, because I also think probably Honorable Speaker Kadaga will ask for the same evidence. You don't just come up. And maybe if we look at it on the other hand, yes, laying off 47 like staff, it's also, I really don't get it. As much as I would like to also understand the other side of the university, but I also don't understand how you lay off such a big number.
Well, I had mentioned it earlier. 47 may seem like a big number, but we've seen massive layoffs take place now. In Uganda alone, last year, the Uganda National Roads Authority, UNRA, laid off very many people. That was when Allen Kajina came into office. But away from that...
But that was so different, because even the ones that were laid off were given an opportunity
to reapply.
To reapply.
Yes.
Because some had entered illegally, the back door, using the back door. So to set things, I think she just wanted everyone to be knowing what they are doing and how they came here. Yes.
So anyway, like I was saying, these layoffs will definitely keep happening, not only in Uganda, but even on the international scene. In fact, on the international scene, it is worse. We do see big companies, companies like Google, Apple, and related Fortune 500 companies employ tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people. And when they lay off, they actually lay off more than 500 people at a go. Now, this is a very big blow to the economy, one way or the other. Now, 47%, what magnitude of effect would it have on the economy? But away from that...
But have they scrapped off the positions, or someone else can apply?
Someone else will come and replace. Now, away from that, it is also important to understand the dynamics involved in being employed by government. You see, in Uganda alone, I must say this, last year at the Global Entrepreneurship Week in November, it was discovered that one of the reasons as to why businesses fail in Uganda is because we compromise on standards. And I was going through my Facebook account yesterday, and I found an article by Dr. Abaho Ernest, a customer care consultant, saying, you know what, I went to ShopRite, I bought commodities, they made me carry my commodities in their hands, and when I asked for packaging, they told me that the manager had failed to do the requisition in time, so there was no packaging. And he says they were rude to him. Now, I'm getting the article from him directly, so I don't know whether this is right or wrong, but he's someone I can trust when he posts something like that on a public forum. And of course, very many people followed suit in his comments, saying, you know what, it is right, they should show you better customer care, these people should observe standards. Meanwhile, someone came and rebuked him for having posted such a thing in the public, that look here, why don't you first talk to the manager before posting it? Maybe there could have been an alternative solution. But Dr. Baho is saying, look here, the reason as to why companies like Nakmat failed in Uganda was because they fail to observe simple standards, especially issues to do with customer care. Now, we are back on our insight today is on government employment, especially in relation to Makerere University. And we are saying, even in government institutions, many times, you will enter an office and someone will give you a cold shoulder because it is not their time for working. You know,
Or
you have
probably,
an 8 o'clock appointment, you come at 7:30, they make you sit there, and it is like you don't exist. The lady comes, she doesn't say hi, she checks her phone, her WhatsApp, she even changes her shoes. I know you at times carry 2 pairs of shoes, and the next thing you know, and the next thing you know, the person is asking themselves, is this the receptionist, or, you know, am I in the wrong place? I would expect that once you find someone too early for the appointment, receive them, apologize to them for the person they've come to meet not being in office if it's still too early, and ask them to wait. Now, this is common practice in government institutions because they relax a lot on standards. Now, it brings me back to your issue. Is it fair to fire 47 staff? And like we agreed at the beginning, if they are indisciplined,
they should
if
be
they
laid
are
off.
in wrong, if they are in wrong, and I would imagine university policy allows them to be given warnings. In those meetings themselves, they are given different advices.
But I think they were given warnings because Professor Nawangwe insists and says some of them were called one-on-one and some of them didn't respond. Even some of them were called, summoned, but they didn't appear. So that means that they were warned. By the time they lay them off, they have been warned. Like
actually, they have to be warned.
Yes, but when I go back to what you were saying, I've seen most government, institutions, especially the workers, usually tend to think that you're going to be paid at the end of the month.
Whether or not you have worked.
Yes, and they have rights. I don't know whether the government institutions have probably another constitution than the private sector has. Because for them, they usually say, I can't be laid off like that. You just can't lay me off. Giving me a job might have been easy, but sending me off will be hard. So that is where you see most people rely on that mentality. They'll come in office when they want. Some of them, like the ones who have nice coats, will leave them in.
Yes,
they will just
to show that they are in office, but they're not
changing.
there. They go do some consultancies elsewhere, and then they come back later. Now, it again brings me back to the same issue we were saying. This little compromise on a few standards like timekeeping, customer care, good service delivery, after sales services. When someone comes and says, you know what, I came to URSB to maybe have my company registered, and you told me to buy this document. I bought it. I would like to know what to follow next. And then you're like, Tomancha, call Google the internet. I would imagine. I'm not saying it happened at URSB, please. Don't mistake me, our dear viewer. I'm just giving a simple illustration of how customer care could easily, customer care and after sales services could easily make someone feel undermined. And at the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised if one gets fired at the end of the day. Now, like you have said, in government institutions, things will be taken for granted because of the law. The law protects government workers. In Mackay University, before they even start these hearings, they must get warnings at least once. Now, some of them get warnings like twice or thrice. It is said that Dr. Stella Nyanzi herself got very many warnings before she was laid off. And the warnings range from issues of indiscipline to issues of public shame of the university,
cyberbullying,
cyberbullying of the first lady, issues of vulgarity and too much permissiveness. So I feel the university finally had to make a statement to show these people that, look here, much as the law protects you, we are serious when we want work done. When you must come to work, it is serious business. You have to come to work. Now, in a university, it is even much more sensitive because the university students are the people who pay tuition that pays the salaries of these workers.
Actually, the parents.
Yes. Well, yes. But in this case, I'm talking about client service provider relation. So the client in this case is the student.
The students.
Now, the student pays tuition. But how many times as a student, if you've gone back to your university, have you gotten this cordial relation to feel that you are the client of the university?
No, not so often, because in most cases they will remind you that this is a university, and at the end of the day, even the lecturers, it is easy for the lecturer to come in and say, we are not having a lecture today, and move out.
Yes.
But it's another thing when you go to the lecturer and you ask the lecturer, I would like to know, why are we not having a lecture today? And you know what the lecturer will tell you? No. There is a way I do my stuff. Actually, that's the common line most arrogant people use. There is a way I do my stuff. So you should respect that. Respect that. So There is something, one of the staff as identified as Mr. Charles Nwagaba, an associate professor of civil and environmental engineering.
I think that is a doctor, Dr. Charles Nwagaba, you know him.
Yes, was dismissed for negligence and refusal to perform official duties. You can imagine.
Well, I would want to give a comment about that, but let's first have a very brief break, and we'll be right back with my say on that particular issue. We are still in for our business insights here on the Smart Right Show on Smart 24 TV, and of course we are looking at the university business, rather government business, vis-a-vis with a keen interest in university, Mackay University Business School, and of course its layoff of 47 staff. However, our dear viewer, don't forget you can be part of this conversation on all our social media platforms.
Yes, you can join us on Facebook, Smart24 TV, and then on Twitter, S24, and let us know what you think about this topic.
Yes, indeed. Now, before we went off for a break, you had brought in the issues, some of the issues that had been raised by Professor Nawangwe.
Yes, I was looking at Dr. Charles. They are emphasizing that he was laid off because of misuse of maybe of his office. But why don't they clearly state what exactly? Misuse of office is a big word.
And
if you've decided to let the cat out, you should give us all the reasons.
Yes, indeed. Now, it must also be noted, most of these government issues have politics involved in them. A lot of intrigue and political sidebars happen within the corridors of a government working place. So I would not be surprised, because personally I've been humbled to interact with Dr. Charles Nwagaba on a number of occasions, and I understand Makerere University has a contract with GIZ, a German company doing research, and Dr. Charles Nwagaba is one of those people who work on it with, of course, in relation with, in partnership with the Makerere University Business School Entrepreneurship Center. Now, Dr. Charles Nwagaba is, to me, one of the most hardworking people Makerere University had. And by them saying he was laid off on account of misconduct in office, or you said misuse of office, I feel now that's the general statement someone who wants to get political will use. Like you said, they ought to point out the exact issue. How did he misuse the office? Was he using it as his bedroom? Was he having his family visit there? You know, someone may think that. Or did he use the name of the office to get contracts without the university's notice? That
or
is
maybe
also something
using the office for other business, like personal business.
Well,
they should state it.
They should. We were humbled really last year when we had, I think for the first time in many years, we saw Ugandans observing something in a very big government institution like Bank of Uganda, and like the nitty-gritties were brought out at the parliamentary hearing before the Committee on Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises. And I feel a fair hearing like that of Bank of Uganda before Abdul Kamuntu and the Kosase team
should be
the same this side for Makerere University. Anyway, like we had agreed to dwell on.
Well, I think it's now, because between Makerere University, and let's wait for the response from the Parliament and from Honorable Rebecca Kadaga. But looking at it, let's look at how exactly every person knows that they are working for someone, or probably it's your business. But at the end of the day, how should you lay off your workers, your staff once you feel, when is it right for someone to say, no, I think I no longer need your services?
Well, I believe it depends upon the nature of business. And before we go into what it ought to be, this is what it is. There are some businesses in which someone can just wake up, the manager can wake up and say, you know what, you're fired, and you ask for the reason and they don't even give you a reason. They say, okay, you'll come back and we'll tell you the reason, but you're already fired. There are some businesses where a manager will get a report about you and they don't consult you to get your side of the story, and they will fire you. There are other businesses where someone, a manager or the boss, will have a relative they want to bring in, relative or friend, or a person they've promised to give a job somehow through their funny methods, and in a desire to place them somewhere, they want to have them replace someone, so they fire another person.
Well, there are some people who will wake up in the morning and then they're at work and say, I'm not coming back. And they also don't give reasons or notice, and then they go off. And there are some people who will also wake up in the morning and then you notice that he's becoming your boss. You're the boss, but the person you employed is now bossing around. You tell him, do that, do this, and tells you, no, I think we should do this way. And you're like, yeah, I think that's a great idea, but I want it this way. So as much as we are looking at employees and employers, I think the question out there, you should join us on our social media platforms and tell us, at what extent should an employee or an employer feel that they should be summoned? Because sometimes I think, Tush, it's about the contracts.
Yes, it is.
Because right from the maids, from the shamba boys, someone comes in, they tell you, no, I have 2 kids. You'll be bathing 2 kids. You would be just putting them, preparing for them breakfast. And then I have another person who works on the kitchen side. So by the time you know it,
you're the one in the kitchen.
You're the one in the kitchen. You're the one in the garden. You're the one that picks the kids. You're the one that opens the gate. You're the one that cleans the compound. So I think sometimes we also need to look at the contracts. And the fact that we don't have contracts, some people will employ you. By the time you know it, your job working, they tell you, no, contract comes tomorrow, comes tomorrow, comes tomorrow.
Yes, and at the end of the day, you find that you've actually not been employed.
So sometimes it's complicated to understand, and you want to be employed because you need to put food on the table. You have a lot of things to do by the end of the year. So when people are saying that the levels of unemployment are high, I'm like, at some point we also need to think about what brings that.
Well, you've brought in the issue of unemployment, and in my mind I quickly rushed to this conclusion I had made, that these are actually some of the problems of poverty and unemployment. People, employers and job givers will take advantage of the fact that there is a surplus of available labor willing to come and work. Waiting, you know?
Just one call away.
Just one call away. And at the end of the day, they do not value the one staff they have before them. The one staff who gives everything, sacrifices everything to see that the business moves. You get it? Now, I want to feel that this is where you find very many young people saying, you know what, I am tired of working. Let me just go and do my own thing. Because it's better to spend the whole day hungry, knowing that you're working and you're happy, than spending the whole day being given a lunch allowance, maybe even supper, maybe even at times transport, but you're in a working environment where you're not stable. Anytime you are pressured, you're going to be fired. You get it? So these layoffs need to have a formula. First of all, like you said, let there be a contract. When you have someone coming to work for you, look at their productivity. Don't mind the age. The other thing I've noticed is, most people will look at the age.
And the size.
And the size.
And the height.
If you're a young person, you're worth bullying. I know in Uganda, the culture is, if you're hiring employees who are younger than you, very many people will bully them. They will bully them. Even one who is qualified and productive enough to play the role of a manager, at the end of the day, you find that he's being bullied like as if he's nothing, just because he's young. So I feel there must be a procedure that does not look at age but productivity and value addition. The employer, first of all, needs to understand that if you orient your employee well, he will work with the sense of, I want to add value to the company. And by the time this business becomes valuable, I will be able to get, what is it called? A salary increase, and perhaps even a promotion at some point. Motivate people.
But you see, also sometimes when I come back to the side of the employers, well, sometimes you employ someone and you have hopes in them and trust in them. And then they come on job, and these people who are so professional, they'll start giving you this excuse. Do you know who I am? Mm-hmm. Do you know how much I contribute to this company?
You know.
Because you won't find a replacement. You get the whole point. Some people start feeling big.
I call it the Messiah complex.
Exactly.
Without me, this business will not survive.
Thank you.
Without me, this unit will collapse.
Now that brings you to the productivity part. Yes, we see you're good, yes, you're good at your work and you're good on the air. But what about your personality? Your discipline? Discipline also matters. As much as we're looking at productivity, at the end of the day, now you're being a boss. You're being a boss, and you're not only being a boss to your boss, you're being a boss to the rest of your team. This is why you command every person. You command this person, you command that person. And also now the employer is torn apart. Likes your services.
To retain you on account of your skills, or fire you on account of your indiscipline.
Exactly. And you know, some businesses, like you were describing them, there's some businesses that take time. You cannot keep, let's say like media, let's say like many businesses where you cannot just keep bringing people. You keep bringing in someone new. Even if it's kids, actually even the maids, you cannot keep bringing a different maid to nurture your kids.
Yes.
You get the whole point.
Yes.
So the point of being laid off, or the point of employing someone, also, I think that's where we have sections like the HR department, where it has to call you and tell you, you know what, I think Tush, this and this and this and this has to be settled out if you have to stay with us. And it's up to you, Tush, to also sit down, and ask yourself, why are you there? Why are you there? Is that your company? If it's your company, by the way, even if it's your company, Tush, you have to treat people well. Respect. If they're not, actually, even I usually tell people, even if someone is not good at what they are doing, you cannot shout at them.
Yeah,
there is a way to communicate.
You have to respect all staff.
Exactly.
Even the cleaner of the toilet deserves respect. As long as someone is a human being, they deserve respect. And I feel, I've seen cases where people are getting fired because they didn't, in the name of, he doesn't respect me. Now, this brings me to another issue that I found interesting. But before I go to it, I like the way you brought out the issue of character vis-a-vis hard work. And in my quotes, I love to say that your skills, your academics, your talent will take you places where your character cannot keep you. So you need to check on the character first.
Because me, I usually say, no matter how bright the color of a flower is, its scent, its smell matters.
Yes.
You see, roses are different. You will see a rose and you like it, but once you pick it up, you're like, no, it doesn't smell nice. Yet it was so bright. Well, so either way, you need to work on the character.
Yeah,
whether you're a boss, whether it's the employers or the employees. Discipline, respect comes.
Now that brings me to the issue of respect you raised. And of course, this is now in character of the managers, supervisors, bosses. We have this tendency of demanding for respect like as if it is a political seat. Respect is not demanded for. People, if you're watching, I need you to listen to this. Do not demand for respect. Earn it. By the time someone disrespects you, that means you're not worth respecting. Yes, unless they are naturally people who disrespect people. There are those who are naturally arrogant, too proud, too much of ego, and they disrespect people. But away from that, even by the time someone shows you disrespect, there is no smoke without fire. Put your character, your own personal character in check as a manager. You get it? So, of course, you want to call this?
No. There is one thing I wanted to say is that at the end of the day, whether you're employed or you're the one who is employing, either way, you need to work on your discipline, you need to work on everything, and there is a way to communicate. Actually, I was looking at departments, also they matter, looking at departments, who is commanding who, that whole chain. I think that's all the people, yes. They should have taken notes or something.
Yes, indeed.
Well, that we have to get on a break and then we will be back. Yes, welcome to Smart 24 TV, and then you're back on Smart Rise Show. And I will remind you each and every day, my name is Jacqueline Arinda, and with me I have Ronald Tush Kamwea. So we were looking at the Makerere issue where we had 47 staff laid off. And here they have petitioned the parliament, and they want the parliament to give them a hearing. So let's look at the effects.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
let's look at the effects of all this.
Yes, indeed. And of course, as we look at the effects, don't forget we are streaming live on Facebook. Smart 24 TV is the page. And of course, to follow us individually, you can follow me, Ronald Tush Kamwea, and of course, follow Jacqueline Arinda on Facebook. On Twitter, it is at S24 TV. I'm at Ronald Tush, and she is?
At Jackie Arinda on Twitter.
Yes, now, the effects of 47 staff being laid off, what does it mean? One, we do see the group that I had wanted to mention earlier that I failed to mention was called Concerned Members of Makerere University Staff. These are the ones who wrote the 76-page document to petition to Kadaga. So first of all, these concerned members of Makerere University staff can be taken as industrial action. Whenever you unfairly treat your staff, you're going to have them bundle up into gangs, and either they can legally come up with what is it called? A union, a workers' union, which is part of industrial action. If not, they can actually demonstrate and cause stagnation of work. And we have seen this happen many times in Makerere University, where staff, when salaries delay, staff lay down their tools, and the next thing you know, university students are affected. And as I've told you, by the way, in a university, the first priority is the client, and the client is the student.
It's the student.
However, it has been turned the other way around because of mistreatment of employees, or unfair treatment of employees, or unclear treatment of employees. I could be unfair in saying mistreatment, yet in actual sense it could be unclear treatment of employees. You get it? So we will see an industrial action happening, like we do see this. This is part of an industrial action, by the way, and it draws the university has to spend lots of money should they be taken to court. Should this fail at the parliament's level, they are going to be taken to court, and a lot of money will be spent. Even the individuals, obviously, who are going in to take the university to court will incur costs. But it must be noted that even as
the parliament, you're looking at the university. By the time we have this hearing, the parliament has to sit, and a certain budget has to be passed on.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But away from that, the effect is not only going to trickle into industrial actions and of course the employee vis-a-vis the employer.
Let's look at productivity.
Okay, I was before coming to productivity, I was going to talk about the people at home, because it's the beginning of the year. Kids need to go back to school. I know universities are opening in the second week of Jan. Some universities are opening in the second week of Jan or third. Secondary schools are also opening up soon. I mean, primary schools and tertiary, other institutions, universities are opening. Sure. So school fees need to be paid. These 47 people
have dependents.
Yes, they have dependents. And as the year starts, it's quite a tough pocket to count on. So firing them, and moreover asking some of them to refund money they were paid as salary, is not only going to affect them, but it's going to affect the people they dependent upon. Of course, the question would be now, who is to blame? Is it the university or the indisciplined staff for the dependents who are suffering? We are
looking at effects, but and looking at the productivity, Sisi, you're back to the point that, that the students are coming back to school. We are, now the question is, those offices, as we talk, they are empty. No one is occupying them. Who is going to be taking up that work? That means that whoever has been working on something, and there'll be a delay. Yes. I wonder whether they are going to run adverts probably, and those offices are occupied in time. And if they are not, then that means that there is a hiccup somewhere, and that hiccup will affect probably the students. It might affect the students, but at the same time, it's affecting the university. And also, when you're talking about the riots and maybe demonstrations, not riots, demonstrations, that means we've seen when actually such institutions start getting such issues, such events where there are a lot of demonstrations, there are a lot of cases coming up, they lose their value. someone starts saying, I don't think this university,
Yes.
I should take my kid, because they look at the risks. Last time when they had some demonstration, we realized that some students were affected.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, it's the parents that take them to what? To the hospital. They incur the bills.
Yes.
And when they are having the demonstrations, we see some lectures are put on hold.
Yes.
And probably other lecturers might also decide, the ones that have their jobs might decide to take part to support their workmates,
yes.
because they know that probably it's coming up to them. If it's after them, then probably it would affect them. So looking at it, this has to be solved either way. This is not a one-person problem. It's not the state. It's not the parents' problem. It's not the students. They have to look for a solution as soon as possible.
Yes, indeed. And of course, whatever solution they get, they have to be cautious how they do it. If they mishandle it, yes, we'll see these 47 staff leaving Makerere University, but they will leave behind people who are backing them up, and the next thing you know, they will be disorganizing the institution itself internally. These cases of intrigue are very common when it comes to government institutions. People will backbite each other in the corners. Managers who were in support of those being fired will be hated.
Actually, some of them, they were laid off because of corridor talks.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a lot of corridor talks, a lot of...
But you can't fire someone for grapevine. Grapevine must be part of a business.
That they were
Corridor
too much. And then I'm like, okay, so what exactly are you trying to say? That I cannot discuss something with my workmates?
You know?
But either way, they also need to step up their game.
Yes, indeed.
And step up their game. But for the students, I think they are the most affected people at the end of the day. Of course, if you've been earning every month and you've been earning every month for the past 10 years or 20, and at this time you're told that you have to look for another job to sustain you. If you've been putting your students in probably a school that you find that takes almost half of your income. So without income, how are the students going to survive?
How will you handle? Yes. You mentioned something earlier on that I thought I should shed some light on the replacement procedures that are within the university. I want to assume that they're already in the transition period, transitioning from who replaces the fired staff. And under normal circumstances, they will put an acting, if these were heads of department, they will put an acting person to fill in that space while they advertise.
Well, let me quote this before I cut you short. They say they allege that there are irregular appointments on the university based on nepotism. It has become a habit of the members of Makerere University Management and Council to appoint their relatives to positions on the university establishment. So looking at the replacements, that means that they are probably, like they say, they allege, probably they are bringing in the people they expected, they wanted to bring in.
Well, that is...
they allege.
That is serious. I am cautious not to talk much about it because, you know, my thinking is, if I was the CEO and there is a job opening, obviously, the first person I want to give not to give the opportunity, but to expose the opportunity to would be the people close to me, whether relatives or people in the same village, or if they are there. You get it? But no. It does not put my credibility in question. The thing is, when I have food to give out, the first people who could eat this food are the people around me. You get it? But I give the same opportunity I'm giving to these people to the rest, to the general public. You get it? That's why an advert has to go in the papers. The competition must be fair. You get it? Now, if the competition is fair, that means if my relative qualified and they passed the interviews, let them take the job. But if they did not qualify and I put them in the job, now that is where my credibility should be put in question. But even my own relatives cannot be disfavored because I'm the one giving out the jobs. No. I would be disfavoring them if I told them, you know what, I'm the boss and I don't want you to apply in the job because people will say this and this. The reality is there is a job opening. Jackie, you're my sister. Please apply for the same opening. Come for the interviews. If you fail,
well,
that is my thinking.
I can't say much about that because that's your opinion. That's your thinking.
Everyone deserves a fair opportunity. Even your own relatives deserve a fair opportunity.
All right.
Yes. Away from that.
Well, we can discuss about this all day, but join us on our social media platforms, Facebook at Smart24 TV. That's where we will continue with the discussion. We can chat. So we were, just in case you've just joined us, we were looking at the 47 staff that was laid off because of they gave out their reasons, and now we are looking at the staff, and they have petitioned. Yes, they want a hearing from the parliament. Well, I would like to say, but please, our show Smart Rise runs from 6 and then to 9, but we are having, yes, to 10. We are having another segment coming in with Ronald Tush Kamweya coming in with a guest. That's a surprise. My name is Jacqueline Arinda and
Ronald Tush Kamweya. You're watching Smart Rise. Stay tuned for more programming. Ratio here on Smart 24 TV, and it's me, Ronald Tush Kamweya, with the entire gang. Now, yesterday we had a bit of preamble on the real estate industry in Uganda, and we were more than humbled to have a senior lecturer from Makerere University Business School in the Department of Finance, Mr. Bernard Alu. Yes, you mentioned the other name better, because I've noticed I've just been making a mispronunciation. And he shared with us a bit of a preamble on real estate, and of course understanding what it is and the different opportunities that are there. I know for the first time you could have had words like condominiums, satellite cities, things like that. Real estate, perhaps it was your first time. Now today, we are really humbled to have Mr. Bernard back on the show. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And in this segment, I know you're going to talk about some of the challenges in the real estate industry.
Yeah, true.
All right. First of all, why did you pick this topic today?
I just chose it because wherever there are opportunities, there must be challenges that come in. Because these challenges can be both internally and then externally. Because they can be within the means of the firm or the business or real estate firm, or it can be within the outside environment. Since the real estate environment, you don't operate in a vacuum. You expect to operate in an environment that is marred with opportunities and then the challenges itself.
Yes. Now, if you don't mind, I request that if you may, give us a brief recap of yesterday's.
Yesterday we looked at, first of all, understanding what real estate is, because people looked at real estate in a narrow mindset. People thought real estate, like earlier on I mentioned yesterday, that people thought real estate is just the buildings, and then the agency even testified that real estate, thought real estate was
unorganized building, like you see Bukolobi
an estate. Yes, so an estate is just a component of real estate. So we looked at real estate in so many aspects, as a tangible property, as a bundle of rights, or the interest that you have in a piece of land. And then also we looked at real estate in terms of the professions that we talked about. And we here highlighted a few opportunities, ranging from the consultancy that you can have to valuations or surveys that you expect to have, property management, to mention but a few. So those are the aspects that I knew. We concluded that we said, for you to specifically, critically invest in real estate, there is need for you to critically understand the market by doing a feasibility study.
Wow.
So I think that is where we were.
Yes.
So it's from that it triggers this aspect of the challenges.
Yes, because I would imagine as you're doing the feasibility study, your aim is to understand how the market itself is performing before you enter it, and you're going to look at the different strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and perhaps threats. You're going to look at it from all sorts of critical analysis angles. Now, it brings us now to the issue of challenges, as you've mentioned. What are some of the challenges that any person wishing to join, leave alone those that are faced by the industry itself? But let's start with the person who wishes to join the industry. What are some of the challenges they will face?
I would say there's quite many, but to start with, the most important thing is when you conceive an idea of starting up a business, the first thing you think of is, where am I going to get the funds from? That is a source of financing that you're going to use. Do you have the capital with you?
Yes.
Or are you going to think of a financial institution? So one challenge comes there. We have challenges with funding. Not only the challenge of funding, but also the costs that come with funding. Because you may have abundant funding, but if the costs are high, like you go to a bank, the cost of a debt is an interest. So what is the interest? So you can see that we are not having, because we don't have a streamlined, because we have financial institutions that are ready to help. But they're ready to help with a very high interest rates. So that is why people are crying out, because you're getting a loan of 100 million, you end up paying this loan in the next 1 year, maybe in the next, not 1 year, in the next maybe 15 or 10 years, you find that because of the value of that money, interest rates keeps on rising. Because we've never had a deflation in Uganda. We're having always inflation. Persistent prices of commodities that are coming in.
Increasing.
So it affects the interest rates directly. So interest rates, the bank's always the biggest investment for a bank is a loan. So now most of the real estate projects you see here are financed by using debt or borrowings, which seems to be cheaper in the context of it being a deductible expenditure, but still it affects the businesses a lot. Individually, it affects most people. People would have the idea, people have very brilliant ideas, but the challenge is that the source of funding that comes with these aspects, the interest or the costs that come with financing these projects is also a problem. And leave alone that, also the cost of material, raw material used, because most of these things are imported. If you want to have a classy real estate project, you must import some of these things. The iron bars are being imported, and these things are bought in dollars. Not Ugandan shillings.
Yes.
The currencies where the standard one is using a dollar.
It's a dollar.
That is why when you see most times the tenants complain that why are landlords charging us expensively, not expensively, but using dollars, because that is what they want. Because because they want to reap the returns, because the cost of financing a project is very high. What is the implication? So it implies that you need to what? Also tag that same amount or that currency that you used for purchasing these raw materials, because you know we have weaknesses in the currency. We have Ugandan currency compared to the US dollar, or compared to any other currency that you have in East Africa. So that is a very big challenge also. Individually, the cost of these raw materials that we use for coming up with these projects, and another individual challenge that we're facing as the real estate sector, or as an individual that when you look at
wants to join
real estate sector, the knowledge that we have, we don't understand the market very well. Like majority of the people, thank God that God brought me here yesterday. People now understood what real estate was.
I personally, I had a much more clear picture of real estate.
So look at a layman. At least maybe he must have had a background, but if you look at a layman who has never heard about real estate, only thinks about real estate in terms of the estates and what. So this person wants to venture, has the money, but wants to venture, does not know how the market operates, does not know the current trends. So there are so many things that come with this. So those, among all those individuals' challenges, those are some of the specific aspects that you can look at. If it is polished, then the industry can be pedaled forward.
Well, I particularly asked that question because I know we have a number of students doing real estate in Makerere University Business School itself. I know real estate is offered as a program of its own. And at the end of the day, I see them getting engaged in exhibitions, showing little houses. And, but in my mind, I keep wondering, will these people be able to sprout and have the full benefits of the real estate sector should they move out of university? So thank you for highlighting that. Now, back to the issue. What are these challenges now for the industry in general here in Uganda? Yeah,
the industry, amidst the individual challenges, the industry also is marred with a lot of challenges.
Yes.
So one of the aspects that come with it is because now we're looking at not individually, because you see we have what we call institutional investors. Most of these companies, in terms of partnerships, in terms of aspects like maybe you have a corporation. Like an example I would give is you have a REIT or real estate investment trusts that you understood, a collective investment that you have. But you want this project to be financed. But the challenge is, what aspects do you look at? Specific things that you look at when it comes to financing this project. Financing does not only help come with an individual, it comes with what? Also the companies themselves. Because most of these companies want to put like, let me give an example. Maybe Palmarina Estates. You're seeing they're having around 300 acres of land that is supposed to be developed. So where did you think that they got this funding from? Maybe there must be a partnership. So the challenge we face as an industry is that most people don't want to have partnerships because these projects, for you to have a massive project, you must have these partnerships. Because it is through these partnerships that you can have the sources of funding or financing. And another challenge we'll talk about maybe...
I'm sorry, but before you go to the next one, you're mentioning issues of partnerships, and my mind, I'm thinking, one, by the time they choose to go into the industry, they know it is profitable, not so?
Yes.
And like you have said, partnerships are necessary, so why don't they go in for the partnerships? What causes this this distance between the different stakeholders within the industry?
You know, the challenge is also trust. Because you know, there's that like I always tell you, that animal that comes with corruption. So people don't trust each other because you enter into a partnership 2-3 years down the road, you're reaping well in this project. Someone says, I was the one who contributed to that, I want to withdraw my money and invest somewhere else. Because you want to mitigate the risks. Yes. Because for you to mitigate the risks, you must diversify.
Yes, indeed.
You should not always, like I said, you should not always put your eggs in what? One basket. You should be able to be thinking of which other projects can I invest in. So those are some of the challenges when it comes to partnerships. People don't trust themselves. Trust is a very big issue, like specifically Ugandans. You find the way we operate, there's what we call individualism that comes in. People tend to be for themselves as opposed to being for the common goal that the group or partnership is expected to achieve.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Well, thank you for highlighting that. Now, if you could go to the next challenge.
And the next challenge I will talk about, maybe things like access to land has been a very big challenge because the cost of land has been escalating over time.
Yes.
As we all know that the value for land appreciates. You buy a piece of land today at 10, let's assume at 10 million, even overnight, it can go to 15 million.
To 15 million.
But you don't know the procedure in which people arrive at increasing these prices. It is just sometimes sentimental in nature. Someone wakes up one morning, thinks that the value of my property has appreciated. So I mean the costs go high. When you look at the outskirts of Kampala, that is where people are going because of the sprawling aspects, because people don't want to stay within the city because there's a lot of, if I can say, katogo in the city, a lot of mix. You don't have peace of mind. You work in the city, but you want to live at the outside. You want to be a commuter. Yes.
Yes, to avoid the congestion that is within the city.
So now people have realized, developers have realized that, meaning they have potential, real estate or developments have potentials outside the city center. So you find that when they're spreading, the spreading comes with the costs. Because someone goes in Kira, maybe acquires maybe 300 or 500 acres, subdivides, starts selling it, gets title for it. The mere fact that you service a piece of land, it becomes very expensive. How do I mean by saying servicing a piece of land? First of all, you must subdivide it. If it is a plain land like this, you need to subdivide. Get a title for it, or you need to do surveys on it. Get a title. Make sure that it has access to water. Make sure that it has access to electricity. Make sure that the road network that leads to the infrastructure specifically that leads to the estate is perfect, such that the value can be what? Because you, as a person who has purchased this big chunk of land, is that you want return on an investment. You can't buy a piece of land at 5 million and sell it at 5 million. You must get that capital gain.
Yes, you have to get that.
Yes, sometimes what they do is they over-exaggerate because they know, people are sure that because there are some prime areas that if you mention like this, they just know that it's a no-go area for someone who is a low-income earner or someone in middle-income status person. So cost of land or cost of access to land is another challenge that is facing the industry. So moving away from the cost of land, when you look at the agents, yes.
I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you short there. Now, speaking of cost of land, and of course, along the way in your explanation, you did mention that this land appreciates, even it can appreciate overnight. And I'm thinking, very many people rush into real estate, in the layman's understanding of real estate, in the sense that I will buy land, and any minute it can multiply the amount.
Yes.
Salary earner who gets his first 1 million or 2 million quickly goes to the villages deep down there where you can still get some land at 2 million or 3 or 4 or 5. And they hope that with some time it will appreciate, but within a small time. Now, I wish to know from you as a consultant, is there some system that is used to know the value of land? Is there a legal method in which you can compute and say overnight the land appreciated by, let us say, 5% or 2%? Is there a rate? Is there a method? Is there a formula?
No, in Uganda, like I said, one of the challenges that I would mention later on would be maybe there's no much regulation about this. Though the ministry is there, they're streamlining, because recently I think it was closed. There was a time the Ministry of Land was closed. They wanted to go digital as opposed to this paperwork. So meaning that every piece of land they are going to mark the demarcations. They are going to demarcations on digitizing.
Okay.
Yes. So now one challenge would be is that when you see these aspects, these things that we talk about, like what is the procedure for coming up with these values? It is in the minds of the people.
And in well-regulated areas, like let us say Rwanda, what is the procedure? Is there a system?
In Rwanda, there's what we call a price index. So in Rwanda, maybe they would allocate, they would say, if, like I told you earlier on, there's what we call zoning.
Yes.
So they zone an area, they say this is specifically a residential.
For residential.
This is a commercial, where you have your offices, you have your retail, you have your maybe these other activities, commercial activities that you do.
Yes.
And then this is the industrial, this is maybe open space that is meant to be for maybe other recreational activities and what. But now in Rwanda, basically what they do is they zone this, and then there's what we call a price index. They would assume this is an area. Let's take 3 areas. Naguru, And then we'll talk about, let's go far in Kira, and then we'll look at Muyenga. So they would say, all the pieces of land in Muyenga must go at this. There must be a specific thing they determine. So there is what we call a price index. Each and every area has a different index. So they would say price index maybe for maybe Wakiso is this amount of money. So meaning that any dealing that is there should not exceed, does not go a certain amount of money, given the conditions that come there, because there are certain conditions. Some areas, that is why some areas are called prime areas. Yes, prime areas. Those that are non-prime, because they command low price. Those that are prime, they command higher prices. So there is, specifically in Uganda, that is lacking, because that regulation, that long arm of the government is lacking to enforce. Their policies are there in place. When you go to Ministry of Land, they will tell you, this is the index, this is what is happening. But now on the ground, nothing is happening. Different. So that is a very big challenge. If us were not taking the initiative as the authorities or the urban authorities, or even not even urban, rural authorities, they're not saying that this is a specific price that we'll have for this piece of land, how shall we develop? I think it becomes a nightmare for us to develop. So we need to implement those strategies that we put forth. We say that this is a specific index, the price does not exceed a certain amount of money, it should stop there. Yes. So by the one thing I've loved with Rwanda is that Kagame is very strict.
Yes.
He takes the law into his hands. Yes. He makes sure, even now, not only Kagame, but now the people themselves have that mindset. They now own the development, because participation is key when it comes to development. So they own the development. Is now said it's a specific development, it's going to benefit us all.
I think we have some images of the Rwanda, the estate in Rwanda. It must be there. So as you're mentioning, Kagame is being strict, and of course, I would imagine, even as you said, that he takes the law in his own hands, it is for the good of the people. So I like the fact that you're putting emphasis on regulation. Last year, one of the things that were clearly highlighted by Mr. Gobi, Ramadan Gobi, in his analysis of the Ugandan economy, he did say that much as it is a free market economy, where people are free to buy what they want, sell what they want, start any business as they want,
construct any house you want,
any house you want, the regulation by government is still lacking, and it is still limited. Of course, I know you will shed more light on it as you're explaining it as a challenge. What is the next challenge you wanted to give us?
The next challenge would be related to the infrastructure, because now, like I said, land itself, real estate itself is land, and anything permanently what? Affixed on it.
Yes.
So infrastructure is part of it.
Okay.
So now the way we provide infrastructure as an institution or as a government is that most of these estates, now you see, some countries, the policy they have is that if you have close to or more than 100 units in a specific area, the government takes the initiative to provide the basic infrastructure, like roads, networks, electricity that has been provided. So the government is the one that takes the initiative. But for the case of Uganda, you may even find 500 units, but the responsibility lies in your own hands. So meaning, if you want to put roads, and sometimes they even frustrate you and make it very hard for you to put those roads. The procedures are very...
Well, of course, I would like you to shed more light on it. However, for now, let's take this short break. We'll be right back. We are still looking at the challenges in the real estate industry. Chikukwatako, chinkwatako, of course, nalyeyo, chimukwatako. Tovao. much. Welcome back from that break. And of course, here on Smart 24 TV, the first and only business channel in Uganda, we commit to giving the most relevant and the most timely information. Speaking of timely information, we are handling the challenges in the real estate sector, and I am still with my guest, the lecturer at Macquarie University Business School Finance Department, Mr. Bernard Alurile. Yes, finally I've said it well. Yes. Now, Bernard, before we went in for our break, you were still explaining the issue of how infrastructure is a challenge in the Ugandan real estate industry.
Like earlier on I mentioned, I said that there are projects, when you see, I gave an example. There are some projects in other countries where you see when government wants, because it acts as like a subsidy, or sometimes we call it as an incentive. It gives motivation for people to invest more. So now what they do is that when you have close to 100 to 300 units, the government is the one that provides for you the necessary related infrastructure that comes with it. Things like the roads, things like the electricity, water, drainage system, everything it is being provided. But for the case of Uganda, it is you who accesses all this using your own money. Even if you're putting 1,000 units, even if you're putting 1,200 units, it's you. The initiative is to you. And sometimes they're frustrated by making it very hard for you to provide, because the regulations, what you go through, the procedures that, because even in Uganda it is very expensive for you to construct a kilometer
of a road. Yes.
It takes close to $1 million. Yes, that is close. That is now, when you look at the rates, that's close to 3-point-something billion.
Yes.
Just to construct a kilometer of
a road.
Because the reason why it is expensive is not because that the materials are expensive, but for you to convince people the method of compensation. People are rigid to surrender land for this infrastructure, because they know it is something that is necessary for the developments. But for them to be compensated, rates of compensation are very high. And there are no specific amounts that are given. Say this is an area, if maybe your area is affected, there's a need for a road to pass here. There's no specific amount of money that is charged.
So any
person who says this, but of course government has its value, as the government value has his team that says that this is the value that we expect for this piece of land. We're going to use, if it is a 50 by 100, we're going to use a specific or a streamlined amount of money or a streamlined system to get this. Sometimes you find there are inconsistencies that come with compensating people. That makes it very expensive. Like I said, infrastructure one itself, that is something, they have a positive relationship between real estate and infrastructure. So with a poor infrastructure, no one will want. Let me give you this example. There was a deal I had. I was taking someone to see a property. This brokerage and agency.
Yes.
Showing someone a property. The first thing they look at is, how is the road network? So you're taking someone, the road network is here, the car bumper is hitting here. So it affects that a lot. Yes. So infrastructure has a positive relationship that exists between it and the real estate. So if it is being affected, then it implies that the industry is being broken. So roads, electricity, those are services, that infrastructure-related services are still key issues that are affecting the real estate industry itself, or the sector itself. So would also bring another challenge. The biggest challenge that we talk about here maybe are the taxes.
Okay.
There are very high taxes that are being charged on both individual and corporate, basically individual and corporate taxes. So let me bring this to your attention. 4 years ago, the state minister passed, the Minister for Lands, Urban and Housing Development. There was a development that came in and said that for every transaction of land that acquire, there's what we call the stamp duty. Initially, it was 1% of the value of the land, which is supposed to be paid by the person who is buying the piece of land. But now it is 1.5. Yes, 1.5%.
So meaning if I was transferring land of 10 million to you,
yes,
and I have to, the stamp duty on that land title that I'm giving you would be
1.5% of the value of that land, 10 million. So meaning that must go to the government, the chief government value. So not only this, there are other taxes that come. Like I think yesterday I hinted on it a bit, because when you look at the allowed deductions, they only allow, when you look at if you are an individual investor or someone just buying a piece of land, not for any transaction but your residential. So the taxes that you pay, the allowable deductions that you expect to have are 20% of the value of that piece of land. So meaning 20% is extracted before the taxes is being applied. Yes. So it's 80, close to 8% of the value of this property is being taxed.
So in your recommendation, it ought to be less than 80%, like maybe 50%?
50%, and then the 50% is supposed to be taxed.
So yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So in my understanding, I feel it will not be good when you overtax, because land itself is a basic need. You need land. You need a house to sleep in. So if it becomes very expensive in terms of taxes, the property taxes, the rates are very high. So there's always a threshold, but the thresholds are a bit very high. It doesn't favor the layman or the person who is a low-income earner. So you're buying this piece of land expensive, you're becoming, all things are becoming expensive in terms of the taxes that you pay. And there are also other taxes, but these taxes, the essence of paying a tax is to make sure that the infrastructure is provided well. And when you look at the state of infrastructure, though we say that are close to how many percent? 40% of the budget is allocated for infrastructure. But you go into these places, you really see the nature of infrastructure that we have. Though it is invested now, it is, yes, you wonder what the taxes are doing. So that is one of the challenges that is facing the industry, which is a gross, I would say, which is a very gross challenge.
Well, Bernard, as you were explaining, we did get a hold of a clear glimpse of the Rwanda visionary city. I don't know if you can, if our viewers can take a look at what we are seeing right now, and it is I think I believe a multi-billion or million multi-billion dollar project, and perhaps the most trending thing in Uganda. So let's have that, and then we'll be right back with more on this. I have a conservative opinion to give about your issues on taxes. So yes, let's go to that Rwanda visionary city.
Vision City. One of the most fabulous estates in East Africa region is Vision City. Located Upper Hill, Kigali, Rwanda, only 6 kilometers from Kanombe International Airport, and 3 kilometers from the CBD. This project sits at 157 hectares, of which phase 1 of 504 units is completed. The next phase will be composed of town center, shopping malls, food outlets, banking services, schools, and more. This flagship project is from Rwanda's largest real estate developer, Ultimate Developers Limited. The newly built Vision City that blends modern design with classic elegancy has the breathtaking city view where luxury meets lifestyle. This self-sustaining, impressive neighborhood is blended with state-of-the-art security. uninterrupted electricity with backup generators, water reserves that can last up to 6 months, pre-installed fiber optic network that will keep you connected 24/7, and the other amenities such as asphalt roads, pedestrian walkways, street lamps that allows you to jog even at night, secure open parking, and number of your favorite sports courts such as basketball, tennis, and more. Safe public spaces for relaxation, bus parking as your little ones goes or comes back from school, and an amphitheater. This biggest housing project in Rwanda to date is a high-end residential and commercial development, ranging from 5-bedroom luxury villas, 4-bedroom luxury villas, 3- and 4-bedroom semi-detached, 3-bedroom townhouse, and various range of apartments that are currently on sale. These apartments that are surrounded with wonderful green yard range from 4-bedroom apartments, 3-bedroom apartments, and 2-bedroom apartments. A nice entryway leads you to the granite finished staircase if you live on the upper floors. When you enter any of the apartments, you are greeted with natural lighting coming from the full-size glass panel sliding doors, ideal in saving space that leads you to the balcony where you're surrounded by the magnificent Vision City Complex, Kigali CBD, and the horizon. A large contemporary layout joins the living room and dining room as you turn towards the kitchen that has gorgeous granite, stainless steel, lots of counter spaces for your cooking and dining needs, with cabinetry space that you can customize depending on your personal taste. The 4-bedroom apartments have 2 doors, the main one leading you to the living room, while the second one enters the kitchen area. As you enter the bedroom area with 3 bathrooms, a long corridor leads you to the 3 bedrooms. And at the far end is the master bedroom with a private bathroom. The 3-bedroom apartments have 2 bedrooms with 2 bathrooms and the master bedroom with its private bathroom. And the 2-bedroom apartments have 2 bedrooms with 2 bathrooms. These apartments comes with access to the rooftop where you have a complete 360 view of the surprising city of Kigali's architecture.
Yesterday's segment, you did explain that this is part of a satellite city, not so?
Yes, yes.
What are some of the components of this particular video we just watched?
If you looked at the video itself, there are so many key areas they looked at. What kind of buildings are there? What specific areas? Because now one thing is that the satellite city You should not move a further distance if you want to access any service of your choice. So meaning that recreational activities, you should be able to put them there. That is one of the components that you should be able to look at. Like you see, I'll bring it with an example. The Arkwright, you can see Kakungulu. They have a golf course.
Okay.
They have playing grounds. They have swimming pools that is supposed to be shared. So they have all those other gaming activities. That is recreational. And then you must have also a stall for commercial. You must be able to have supermarkets within the estate, not within a city, because if I talk about an estate, it's narrow. So within the city, you should be able to have commercial activities, retail, whether it being office space. Office space must also be there. And then these developments, houses ranging from all types, whether it being a standalone house, like they mentioned a townhouse, whether it being a semi-detached house, or a detached house, apartments that you saw there, in terms of condos, because most of those apartments are sold in terms of condominiums or condos. You buy space within the apartment itself. You own that space, but the common areas are being shared. So those are the specific aspects. Now, things like security is key for a city. One of the aspects that they look at is security, because you could see in the video the way the cameras were rolling around. So that is one of the aspects of security. You must have street lights. It is very few estates that you see those lights are on. So those lights, they attract the customers who want to buy from there. So people want to live in a community, and it must be very smart. Smart that I mean you put on a sign, no. All those aspects must be there. They must have what we call optic fiber cables. Yes, because now all those people those are people of different calibers. So if someone wants to sit in his house and then has internet, which is even, I don't know, the fastest
the fastest internet.
Yes. Someone wants to sit there. That is an example. I always like giving this. At Arkwright there is a fiber optic. You sit in your house, you enjoy the services because it's free of charge. Free of charge, at the expense of the management of the city. So those are the aspects that the city must be smart in terms of security, in terms of health aspects, in terms of even the institutions, the schools, churches,
hospitals, banking systems.
But they are organized in a way that there is no noise, because someone wants to come and rest and relax. So you cannot put, the way they organize them is that you cannot put a high-end person or big buildings next to small ones. Small ones be with themselves, and then the big ones are with themselves. So that is why you see even the road infrastructure, you can see the electricity systems. Most of them nowadays, they don't want these wires going all over. People are going underground. So that is a component of a smart city.
You know, I'm amazed by this because in Zengo muna Uganda nandiyagadde nsinga kisoboka nandifunye chance redesigning ekifonga bwe nandikyagadde. Now as a young person I have so many dreams. So one of them is if I could access some good land, I would actually create my own global village of some sort where you have well structured houses like we're just in the Rwanda case. So munango mabi video gye twasoose okulaga ebadde eraga ebyo ebifo sebo tebiri mu video biri bya Rwanda kiri mu maaso bwe twogerera. It is real, it is not photoshopped, it is not just video edited, it exists. Now that brings me to the question, do we have such a thing in Uganda, and if not, why not, and if we could, where do we need to go?
It all comes to, one is that it comes to the goal of someone setting up a project. Like I said, I always kept mentioning this. One city we have, the only city we have, a smart city that we have in Uganda is at Arkwright there.
The
Kakungulu estate. So it is the only city that we have. But the next city would be the Pearl Marina one in Garuga. They are planning to put around 300. They are planning to put so many buildings on a 300-acre piece of land. So that will prefer it to be a city. So meaning that all the components that I talked about are there. So people don't want to look at, most of the things we see here are what we call estates. An estate is a component. An estate is just a specific component in a city, because an estate will just have basic housing where you have your residentials. It will maybe have some few commercial activities, maybe supermarket will be there where someone wants to buy these small shops that you see that have been created. Maybe somewhere to play, but not a very big chunk of land. So an estate would be on those specific parameters. But a city in Uganda would be, I think, as of now, just have one.
Amazing, Bernard. Now, of course, as we finish off our show, kindly take me through the rest of the challenges. But as you do that, bear in mind that I will request you to, as a consultant, make some recommendations for policy change to government. So what are the final, what are the other challenges?
A few challenges, there are quite many, but I'll just summarize them. One aspect is that there's no regulation. Regulation is there, but there's no implementation. Policies are there in place, but there's no implementation. Another challenge would be maybe aspects to do with alternative quick investment opportunities. These investment opportunities, like, as opposed to real estate, someone would say, if I put my money in real estate, the return on investment is going to come 10 years or 20 years from now. Where will I be 20 years from now? I would rather go fix my money in a fixed deposit. I put my 2 billion in a fixed deposit, which is expected to earn me returns of 6% per annum or per month. And then in the next 3 months, I'm already a millionaire with my 2 billion that I've fixed in a fixed deposit account. So people decide to think of those quick investment opportunities. And these days, people are going for farming, agriculture. I would say agriculture is part of real estate also, because it is a development on a piece of land.
Okay, now this is interesting.
So that is why.
Do we have time to look at agriculture as a real estate venture?
There's time. Maybe we need to organize another time.
Yes,
we can look at agriculture.
We are happy to have you here so that our viewers who are, because you know Uganda is predominantly agrarian.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
And it said that 80% of the population is benefits of feeds of agriculture here in Uganda.
So if I say agriculture is part of real estate, yes. Things like quarrying, that is part of real estate because you're mining something that is on a piece of land.
Wow,
yes.
This is an eye-opener to me.
That is why we're saying that all those aspects must be put into consideration. People look at real estate in a narrow component, but it's, so the other alternative investment opportunities we are talking about, maybe you invest in a mutual fund. Nowadays people are going for buying shares in companies. Because they know that the returns are guaranteed.
Then this thing of real estate where you're not patient enough.
Sometimes you have vacancies, maybe you put your rentals, people don't like it, 3 months, you're not seeing a tenant. After that, you have also this hassle dealing with tenants. I rather give my money to a fund manager. He manages it for me. I say every month, I want this amount of money. People are ready to do that for me.
Hassling with
tenants and there and then.
In fact, that reminds me of something you mentioned before we went for a break earlier on, that most houses, most infrastructure we see in terms of real estate here, you would find that the ground and the first 3 floors are occupied, but the rest are not. And you were pointing to an issue of people rushing into uncalculated investments in real estate. But then I would also like you to shed some light. Sorry, we are running out of time. Though I had wanted you to shed some light on the nature of impatience that lies, the nature of patience that is required for real estate. However, I think these are some of the things we'll look at in another show. Conclusively, given these challenges, what are your recommendations for the government?
The government, one thing is that because real estate, you see, yesterday when we were starting a preamble, it contributes to close to 10% of the GDP. That is a much contribution. When you look at other sectors, when I talk about specifically, insurance 3 years ago was contributing 0.6% only.
Okay.
So, but now, because of people now starting to understand these things, because of the ideas being light, being more sensitization and what, it is now close to 2%. So why don't we raise real estate to 40%? Because it's a backbone. You need a house, you need a piece of land. We work on this infrastructure, everything, partly real estate. So the contribution it has. So since it has a large contribution to the GDP, why don't you invest money? Put laws. Make sure that the implementation is key. You say that this is a policy on this piece of land, it must be implemented. Give people tax holidays. Institutional investors.
I know there is a government official watching right now.
Institutional investors, give them tax holidays. Say you're giving us 100 units. We are going to waive for you 3% of the value of the investment in terms of taxes. So those are the specific aspects that you should be able to look at. Regulate these, have strict laws, implement them. You say that you have a fraudulent activity here, you find a tenant, maybe if a standard of paying a commission is 3%, you find an agent paying having a commission of maybe 6%, bring them to books of the law. So those are some of the recommendations that I would look at when it comes, because there are key challenges that we see which we always have to be able to address. And then government should also encourage people to come to this industry, because it's one of the profit-making things that you see, though it is long-term in nature, but you're guaranteed of sometimes your returns over time. Yes.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Bernard. Welcome. And of course, we will be having Bernard here on another part. This is part 2. Part 1 was yesterday. This is now part 2. And of course, we're going to have part 3. Bernard is willing to come and help you if you intend to help you start a business in real estate, of course, in his capacity as a consultant. And today, we are more than humbled to have him all the way from Mackay University Business School, a lecturer from there in the finance department. We are talking about real estate. There is a lot of potential. I did mention that the United States itself has more than 20% of its GDP coming from the real estate industry. In fact, I will need to do some more research to verify my statistics, because from the glimpse I was given into the real estate industry in the United States, it does show that it's more than, it could even be more than 30%. Yes. So we need to understand that more. Away from that, this is the Smart Choice Show on Smart 24 TV, and of course you had a very wonderful time with us. I'm very sure I had a very wonderful time with you. We started off with our Smart Insights, we had our Smart Talk with Franga Shumba, of course we also had our Business Insights, and right now we are closing off the Smart Forum. I'm Ronald Tush Kamweya. We have been streaming live on Facebook. We have a lot much more programming. So please follow us on Twitter at S24TV. I'm at Ronald Tush, and on Facebook we are Smart24 TV. I'm Ronald Tush Kamweya on Facebook. If you have any question for our facilitator today, you can call him, you can inbox him. Before I know I had called you off, but please tell us all your social media networks for those that you're free to respond to.
On Facebook, I'm at Alule Bernard. And then on Twitter, handle it's at Bernard Alule. And then my telephone numbers 0705 76 1276, and MTN is 0777 62 30 84.
Yeah, thank you so much. Stay tuned for more programming here on Smart 24 TV.